Welcome to the RePsychled podcast, where we discuss everyday issues from a mental health perspective. We are your hosts, Dr. Rashonda Strickland,
Dr. LaFanya Jones-Hines,
and Dr. Nichelle Wall. Now, don't get it twisted. We're not going to be your stereotypical therapist.
What we will be is informative, down to earth, a little spicy, and vulnerable.
All right, interns, turn up your volume, grab your pen and paper. It's supervision time. As a reminder, this podcast is not meant to take the place of a relationship with a licensed mental health professional.
Welcome back to session 65, Movie Mental Breakdown, The 5 Heartbeats, 1991.
I hope y'all love this one.
Because we excited.
Yeah, this is such a nostalgic one. I think out of all the movie breakdowns we've done, of course, some of them are definitely near and dear to my heart, like Sparkle, but the 5 Heartbeats is just on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Of
this
nostalgia.
Is one of my favorite ones.
Yes, and for all of our interns that don't know this, this is the 30th year of the release of this movie. It was released March 29th, 1991, Aries season.
Hey, Aries gang gang. I mean, I would have just been turning 7 years old.
How cute.
Don't judge us.
I know.
So cute. Y'all still had your baby cheeks.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I still got mine.
Okay. So 1991. We was all some youngsters. Let's go ahead and go through the cast. Now, this one is a large cast. Unlike some of the other ones that we've broken down before, pretty much everyone in this film had a large part.
The whole movie.
The whole entire movie. And lots of speaking parts. So y'all gonna have to bear with us while we go through this long list of individuals that starred in the film. Of course, you know, you have the actual 5 heartbeats. Duck is played by Robert Townsend. Eddie is played by Michael Wright. Leon, which I wonder what his last name
Robinson.
is. Oh, it is? Yeah. Okay. I was like, what is Leon's last name? It plays JT. Dresser is played by Harry Lennix. And Choirboy is played by Tico Wells. Then from there, we have their love interest. And Babydoll is played by Troy Beyer. Who else is? Rose, who is JT's eventual love interest, is played by Deborah Lacey.
And then Theresa Randall, who is Brenda, was his Dresser's
wife.
Was she
they
his
got
wife
married
the whole time?
Well,
Not
they
the
were
whole time.
sweethearts.
Okay.
And then became.
For a smidgen of a little bit, Tanya, who was Duck's and someone else's small love interest in there, is played by, what was her name? I just saw it.
Carla Brothers.
Carla Brothers. Then,
Jimmy Potter.
Yes, who plays
Chuck
He
Patterson.
plays Jimmy Potter. He is Chuck Patterson.
Yes.
And then Sarge is played by Harold Nichols.
Yes, one of the Nicholas brothers. For everybody out there in the dance world, he is a tap dance. Well, he was. He's gone, but he was a tap dancer.
Is that the like hottie?
Everybody who gets that that black and white tap dancing thing where you see those brothers jumping over each other's on the stairs
and on the piano.
That's
and
the Nicholas brothers. Yes. So they cold-blooded. So the fact that they got pulled him into this movie,
yeah, because those feet was gone.
Yeah,
little soft shoe. Sugar.
We forgot one of the other ladies. Diahann Carroll plays Jimmy's wife, Eleanor,
the beautiful, incomparable.
Some of the competition singers, we have Roy Fegan plays Bird.
Yes.
And where is Flash at?
John Canada Terrell.
Yes, he plays Flash. And then you have Big Red, who is played by Hawthorne James.
He always
My
plays
office
great.
hours are from
9 to 5.
He plays great villains every
does.
time. And he also plays really good, like, loving black men too. But I don't like you right now, Hawthorne. Okay.
Yeah. And the radio DJ is played by John Witherspoon. Rest in peace.
Yes. And there's a slight cameo from Eddie Griffin before he was Eddie Griffin. He's a ventriloquist. So, nothing major.
And I think that's it, right? All the major players?
Yep.
Did we say Ernest Lamont? Who was,
No. Bobby, who lost his role in the group.
He got shot.
and hit by a car.
And so anybody trying to figure out who Ernest Lamont Johnson is, he is the bully in the movie Class Act with Kid and Play from back in the day.
Okay, so there goes your star-studded cast.
At least in the black culture, it's star-studded.
Yes, let me say, yeah, I like that caveat. So, opening scenes. Let me get my notes ready, guys, because I have to read that long cast. It's like, oh, Lord Jesus.
Because everybody in it, everybody.
So one of the first things that you see is Duck, checking his mail and just kind of going through his regular day. And the Rolling Stone magazine, it comes in the mail, and they're doing some sort of tribute episode.
Where are they now?
Yeah, where?
Volume. That's what I should say. Where are they now? And up in the left corner, but who do you see? The
Them
five
heartbeats.
The 5 heartbeats.
I got nothing but love for you, baby.
But in this scene, though, we can also tell that Duck has done really well for himself. He's living in a ocean view home, which I'm assuming in California, which is high. Ain't nobody got time
Even
for
in the
that.
90s.
Yes. And so he's looking like he has really conquered.
and has accomplished some things.
Yeah, because he had some gold plaques in the back
Yes.
on the wall. So the songwriting worked out for
This
him.
is the 90s, y'all, not now. We're not talking about platinum. This is gold was what you
It was the
went for.
back then.
Yeah.
So then comes the blurry scene, and he goes to reminiscing back to June 1965.
And I was like, when this scene came up, I was like, so we just gonna be all separate doing our own things? Like we not gonna get together and make sure we practice and got them moves together? Because when you got on stage, bruh.
Obviously, they didn't listen to Donald Duck Matthews.
I know. I was like, his name was Donald.
Donald Matthews.
Donald Duck, really?
Right.
But no, clearly they didn't. And I was like, what is the whole team ain't together? How you
And
got
he's a
some
pushover,
Yeah.
True.
You got Dresser and Choirboy in there trying to practice, but Choirboy nervous as all get out.
Just like, we're going to get these moves
Exactly.
crispy.
By yourself, though. With the rest of your group.
Just spinning in circles.
Right.
Yeah.
Duck is writing some music.
In the closet.
And two of them, they gambling somewhere. And then JT is scoping out, trying to get some cookies.
That aren't his. They're flashes.
Right.
And you got a girl.
Right.
And then you eyeball her a little bit later.
And my thing is, ma'am.
Did you not see him eyeballing these other women when he didn't
Well,
have
she was behind him. She was back there with Babydoll first. And then she went out when they were getting ready to perform.
Rose did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, see, I thought she was in the audience.
I thought she was in the audience the whole time.
If you look, it's like at the very beginning they set the scene on the stage and Babydoll's performing with her, Babydoll and the Crystals, and they performing and all that good stuff. And so she goes back and she's talking to
Well, I know
Rose
she asked somebody if
to
they
go
seen
find
Eddie. Was that her?
Yeah, that was her.
Oh.
So that's what I'm saying. She was all over the beginning of this film. And she was just so in the background.
Her face just looked. You're right. Because I was trying to figure out if that was her. But okay, yeah. Okay, I do remember her.
He was running,
Also, one of Babydoll's background dancers was off.
I wasn't going to say it this time because, I normally be looking. I'd be like.
I had noticed it. It was right at the end when they was ending their number.
And
She didn't hit the down.
I was like, wait, did I just notice that somebody messed up on the
I'm rubbing off on you.
looking in the background?
Yes.
Because I was like, wait, no, that didn't seem to hit right. The other girls did something else. And okay.
She forgot where her V was supposed to be lower. And she stuttered.
And they didn't want to refilm it.
Nah.
For that.
I mean, obviously, from Sparkle, they don't refilm.
Right.
Okay. That was it. That was a mess. Yeah. I love it. Go back and listen to that movie breakdown. So then, of course, this part right here, there's a lot of cut scenes. So it's kind of hard to like create one solid scenario based off this because they're jumping back and forth between Eddie and Bobby at the gambling table, Flash and
JT.
And JT
and
battling.
Flash and the Ebony Sparks.
Okay, I forgot.
Didn't have on no ebony. I'm sorry. Don't call yourself things, and then if you gonna gimmick
all the way. They got. But he was singing though.
He was. I said you better come in here, John Canada, and act.
Yeah. If it was him singing or whomever was singing for him, was really doing
felt it in my spirit.
Yeah, I was like, oh God, that's good. So of course, this is cutting back and forth. So there's a whole lot going on here. And I was thinking to myself watching this scene, I was like, you really see the innocence of Choirboy in the beginning.
Just want
here
to hug him
because he was so scared.
I know. And then when he was talking about they had threw those bottles at him.
They didn't have to throw the balls at my head, calling me peanut head and stuff.
I was like, oh, his feelings really sounded hurt.
Yeah.
They were, but this is a prime example of if you grow up in church, don't shelter your kids so that they know how to be in the world. We ain't got to be mixed in it if that's not what you want to do, but you need to teach them some skills.
Yeah,
because that poor baby,
none.
And he had to learn all he learned on the road. He had to grow up on the road like Michael Jackson did.
Yeah. You can definitely see a lot of parallels to other movies and just families of famous people that we all know are familiar with. I can see that there with that. And Eddie and Bobby at the poker game scheming. It's
such a different dynamic. Like they are fully grown ways and behaviors and
So one of the differences with this film is we do get a chronological timeline with this film.
Thank God.
Yes. The only issue is we don't know how old they are.
Yeah.
We only know that they are out of high school. That's the only thing we know. But their intro at the beginning with John Witherspoon being the host, he says they've been singing together since high school. That's the only reason why we know that. But they do give good chronological order.
I know. I was
things.
Like, dates?
Yeah,
like,
but see,
dates
I was saying they were fully grown compared to Choirboy.
Oh, you mean in attitude?
Yeah.
Okay.
And demeanor.
Clearly. Yes. Oh, for sure.
And he clearly got in with JT later in the movie because he was not following the other choir boy, which would be Duck.
Yeah.
Yes, they would have been more in tune with one another. But I said, man, he was already in that lifestyle from the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
And I wrote some stuff in there about attachment in some of my later notes in regards to Eddie. But you can just kind of see that, like, I want to be involved with something. Like, I want that fast life that, I just want to be wherever everything is.
He want to feel something.
Yeah. Like he is just searching, and unfortunately his search led him to some really dark places.
And and the thing about it is in his search, he could have had what he had with the heartbeats, but he kept searching for something outside of that.
Yeah.
I think in a minute, because I'm not going to give it away, we'll find out like what that's steeped in. But I think Eddie would have been okay into a pivotal part in his life dealing with the record label. If they had never intervened and done the stuff that we gonna tell them later, I think he actually would have been okay.
Yeah. But side note, did y'all see the way he jumped out that window like a cartoon?
Yes. them feet was like this. I was
he
like,
did a tuck.
Yeah, he did.
I was like, oh, okay, but this is like sugar glass. Like, this ain't like real glass, sir.
So not back then.
Because first of all, sir, you didn't run and jump? Like, you just jumped out? Like, how did it shatter like that and you just jumped out?
Because he's a vampire.
Okay. Because I was like, dang, I laughed actually at that.
Yeah.
See, I was okay with his. It's Bobby's.
Oh, he said,
Bobby was struggling the whole
his
chase
leg.
scene. I said, how you look like you the running back, but you out here
Skipping.
He shouldn't have been out there cheating.
Yeah.
He said, I think one of you boys been cheating.
I'm sorry. Like that was gonna help.
I was like, ooh, not that ace of heart. And they had two of them.
Okay.
Dang.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, again, this is a scene where it's just jumping back and forth. So then you got, you know, JT being his manipulative lover boy. Narcissistic.
But sexy.
Yes.
He's so kissable, lickable.
Yeah. If you look up swag in the dictionary, they're like, there should be a picture of Leon like right there.
If Leon was taking applicants currently and he was okay with having some additional kids outside of Noel, I might holler at him. He seemed like he done got his life together, you know?
Yeah. Just fine. For no reason.
None.
Like, it's just like sex appeal oozes out of this man's skin.
Like when God made him, it was just like, you just gonna have all sex appeal. Like that, not just, that's it. That's gonna be you.
That was the only line he got in. Yeah.
That's the only
Yes. And if y'all don't know who Leon is, just by us saying his name, he is the former love interest of Cynthia Bailey, who was on the Housewives of Atlanta and has the daughter Noelle. So that's how I think a lot of people probably know him. But
Yeah,
he's
some of
been
the
acting,
newer
acting.
generations. He was a lover boy, and I just felt so bad for Rose. So I said, Lord,
Certified lover boy.
Hey, 66666. I was like, she fell for that.
She wanted to be loved by this man.
So bad.
They were probably high school sweethearts because she said they had some history. But
Yeah.
I was like, girl.
Because I was like,
But I can't lie, I
ma'am,
probably would have fell for the two.
but she said, you said that you love me, but you don't call. So then why did you come to the concert and why you in this closet?
Doug probably invited her.
The eventual scene a little bit later, that's why she was in that closet.
And then
He got that demon time.
right. I came with you.
Her sneaky link, as they like to call him
link.
now.
I know that's right.
She the sneaky link technically because he fine with whoever.
That is true.
Okay. But then he said he brought her in the closet because he didn't want a little girl. He wanted a grown woman. I'm like, sir, grown women don't do that. You better take me
At
to
all.
you saying the opposite.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with you. But you know, we all been there.
He couldn't do like sticks and sparkle.
And I know, right? And he said he didn't want a cheap thrill. I'm like, sir,
and that's exactly what y'all were doing.
Cheap.
That's it. What is a closet?
First of all, sir, you share a bed with 3 other people. That's
with a foot in your face.
Yes, all of that. Yeah, but you know, we all had our nose wide open before. You know, it don't take much. You know, it just, you know, that nice smooth voice, you know, the right words and the right combination with the right insecurities just make a terrible combination.
Right insecurities.
See, he seemed like he was doing something though.
Yes, I mean, which makes it even worse.
I was trying to look at you, so I'm like, what can I add to that? Like, I wanna say it, but I can't say it.
I mean, he was knocking the boots.
He was standing
knocking the boots
all the way.
R.I.P. R.I.P.
Man, I was like, dang, my girl fell for it.
Yeah.
And then the whole time, Duck down there getting upset because everybody ain't there for his 5-part harmony that he done created these songs for specifically.
Because I was like, you said 5-part harmony, but it was 6 of y'all. So were you not?
He not singing.
That's what I was going to say. So were you not singing?
He just was playing the keys.
Mm-hmm. And part of my notes I wrote, I was like, I had no idea that the dialogue in this movie was like, at some points as bad as it was. or like the way they said something, because he was like 5-part harmony. And I was like, where are they supposed to be from? Like,
I'm
are they
guessing
in
New York.
I was like, are they in New York? Are they in the South?
But
Like, I'm so confused on the different accents that I'm getting.
I forget that Robert Townsend has that comedic. So I have to always remember that when I watch this movie, because I'm like, he is such a cornball, but I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know?
As JT says later.
Yes.
But, of course, they go on stage and things are not going so well. And then here come Eddie.
He proved to them that he deserved, that he got his spot.
Yeah,
because
at
first, when Dresser was like, "Well, Eddie not here, but it don't matter with him though." He proved it. He matter.
Consistency ain't been his strong suit the whole movie.
No,
right?
No, and this is one of those lessons in like coming through. Clutch.
Yeah.
At the end,
he yanked that joint from Choirboy quick.
Yes. And that's one of the things that even though he went through a lot of the things that he went through, in the beginning, Eddie was clutch for them.
He was very,
he had their back,
stable person.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had their back, and he had some good,
familial commitment.
Yeah. He was very committed to them.
Yeah. And I think really this is just like a prime example which we'll eventually see, is that everybody's not built for fame.
Right.
That he did not have enough
foundation
to be able to stand in the music industry, because the music industry eats people alive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I wonder who sang Eddie's parts.
He looked like he sang it,
cause
them veins were popping out that neck.
Man, whoever's voice that is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Very strong, and I think that's what I really like about whomever the singer is. Like, they have a very strong, distinctive, like raspy voice.
Whoever Robert Townsend did a good job matching Eddie's talk voice to the person who's singing his parts voice.
Yes, because that rasp and that, like, it sound like I've been smoking for 40 years. Yeah.
Well, it says, now I don't know if these are the true people, because sometimes the movie music is different than the soundtrack music.
Yeah,
because like Patti LaBelle is singing the sister part, but it says the Dales.
Oh, so they actually sang. Okay, very interesting. Much appreciation to Choirboy back there praising in the back.
Girl,
having a full-on shout
that
moment.
Was my when he was slow. Throwing them I know, right?
If y'all ever been to church, when you get to jumping and then you get that slow tilt.
That was my favorite part, when he came in on his little soprano part. I was like, come on, Choirboy. You better give it to the people.
Yes. I was like, I think out of all the songs in the whole film, this is probably one of my favorite ones that they do.
Yeah.
Excuse me, as I get my raspy voice on. Because it's almost like Sparkle to me in this kind of way, because you see them in their most raw, authentic, real selves before the camaraderie's there, like the team is there, before egos and all that stuff get involved.
Yeah.
Like, you really see, like, this is the groundwork being laid for something great.
Yeah, that choreography was horrible.
No, yes. That's why we say groundwork.
It wasn't Dresser's fault though.
Oh yeah, no, I know they wasn't together. They didn't practice.
And they 5-part harmonies.
They going all different ways with the little skip tap. I'm like,
poor children.
Y'all wasn't ready.
They weren't, but they vocals were. So that's the good part. They one of them groups can sing, but they can't dance.
They need to then stand still and just sing behind the mic. That's all you got. And just snap your finger.
Really, if you really want to get technical from a dancing perspective, none of these jokers could dance. For real.
At all.
But we gonna say Dresser could dance because he was the choreographer for the movie.
Yes. Because at the end you saw
they
Eddie's,
was all struggling.
You saw Eddie's real rhythm.
Yeah. This scene is where we get introduced to Jimmy, because he's in the at the talent search contest thingy-majig. And he's like, these boys can sing.
That boy good. So then the next scene, they're at some sort of diner or something. And I was like, oh, Duck, stop being falling for the narcissism of your brother. Because there is no way you should have been wingmanning for your brother and the woman he literally just slept with, that he slept with.
Is right there.
And I'm using literally in the actual sense of the word. She's literally sitting
to the left of him.
Next
right.
to him.
And I'm like, so you just oblivious. You just you ain't paying attention to nothing.
No, she was over there just a cheesing.
You know what I mean? She young. We gonna go with that. Because you see she didn't stay forever.
Well, that's why I said the right words with the right insecurities at the right time will have you doing a whole lot of things that many years later you'd be like, that was not the best decision.
Because even I was thinking about the girl that he was doing shop brother next, that he was trying to get the number. And I was like, you believe the sister? Because he looked like he had to think about that.
Well, he chocolate, she chocolate, so.
Visually it made sense.
You hesitated. Too late. No.
And he don't even look like I was just like, oh, this man couldn't be shy if he wanted to.
Right.
Not the way that exudes.
No.
Okay.
But I was like, whatever. I said, oh, you really did this for him. But anyway, Jimmy shows up and presents them with the deal of a lifetime.
He's so generous.
Oh. There's not too many moments in life where you can pinpoint the time that specifically changed the direction and course of your life in a positive way.
Yeah.
Now, for some, it ended up being a different trajectory for a while. But, I appreciated the way Jimmy came at them. He didn't come with the hard, like, I'm going to sign y'all and, the big overpromise and all this other kind of stuff. Like, he came in and was like, look, let's test it out. If y'all lose, I'll give you $100.
But it also ended up being his downfall. Because he should have gotten some contracts with these men.
Versus on a word and a handshake.
Which was what his wife was telling him his downfall was with the other groups.
But they did lose. The next
and he kept his promise.
He kept his promise and gave him $100. But of course, the manager or whomever the person was over the talent show thing.
We skipped the when Duck met Tanya.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, when they showed up at her house, at their house, and
yeah, I think Eleanor has like a etiquette school where all the young ladies in the neighborhood are probably coming because she's very prim and proper. If anybody knows Diahann Carroll, she was just such a effing lady. So, but I didn't notice this until this time, the fact that JT and Duck was watching her.
But JT was like hiding in the corner.
Yes.
I still missed that.
Like you have to go back and watch it. So of course you see Duck because he loud. He got on loud clothes. But his eyes are trailing her and he's right next to her. But if you watch in the background the whole time, JT is walking and as soon as she walks off, he's like, and then walks back over.
He didn't walk back over until Duck started walking after her.
Yeah, but it was some serious foreshadowing.
I'm gonna have to go. Oh, I totally missed that
because that was the first time.
That was the first time because what made me watch it this time was because of the scene later on when they were in the room together and what they said. I was like, so when did y'all even have a time to meet? So that's when I saw. I was like, okay, let me pay attention this time, but because I remembered that.
Yeah, they met all at the same time.
Yeah, that's real good. I didn't even pick that up. Now I'm gonna have to go back home and watch it again so I can.
But it makes me upset because this whole time, JT, you knew this boy been loving on her the whole time.
Yeah.
Fiending.
Like he walked after her out to go outside.
Man. Yeah, there's a short scene in there too where he sees her at her house.
Yeah.
And when he noticed, I think he put his first poem out there for her, right?
But that's when she get picked up by the towel.
And he started looking at his at his clothes, I said, sir,
everything you got on.
It does not match up to what she prefers, at least not
or
compared
what she's
to this
used
man.
to.
Yeah.
And he looked polished. It wasn't that he didn't look polished, but you can tell he's from the hood and she's from very upper class, debutante, black community.
Oh, yeah.
Like he had on bowling shoes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was...
The outfit looked like a clown.
He did, but he was clean.
He was clean.
He was clean, but his clothes was too big.
Yeah.
He's probably wearing JT clothes.
Probably.
Because
Ain't no
they got
telling.
10 kids.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, it was just sad.
Yeah.
But okay. And then so this movie is also fraught with the jump back between scenes. So sometimes it's a little hard to kind of coalesce them into one. Because you also have where Eleanor is talking to Jimmy about, like, you know, she doesn't want him to do this again. And one of the notes that I wrote is, you know, as a spouse, sometimes it's very difficult to go against something that you see your spouse is very passionate about. And you know that thing can be potentially detrimental to them, but they are so passionate about that thing, and trying to balance out how do you support them, but also keep safety within the confines of your home.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I was also thinking about is that, you know, the many times she said that, you know, this has happened because of this group, this has happened because of this group, and he kept going until it killed him.
Top names, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like no little bitty people.
Yeah.
And, you know, they had sacrificed a lot of money, a lot of time.
And it was
just
like
bad,
all of the
the
consequences
marriage.
kept progressing.
Yeah.
To the point, like I said, to the point he died.
Which is so sad. Then we get another little scene where Eddie goes to see Babydoll at her, I guess, apartment or home of some sort.
Yeah.
And in his own little raspy way, he tells her, you know, this is it. We about to make it.
And she was so happy for it. I think you're going to be out here supporting Eddie.
She is the definition of ride or die chick.
She had some boundaries, though. She did have some boundaries.
For like that long.
Well, you got to remember the years, not the time on the movie.
Okay.
Because she really did have good boundaries. Because she stayed until she had observed, oh, you really out here in these streets.
Yeah.
I'm leaving you.
So I would agree with that part, but in the beginning, I was like, that's classic enabling. When she was like, have you seen Eddie? Because you knew he was up to no good. And
Yeah,
you
but
still
not at the
chasing that.
same level that he, you know what I'm saying? Like, she like, this my dude. Where is he at? He missed my performance. That's what I took from it. Because he didn't get to see her sing and dance, and she is, you know, headlining her own group. You know what I mean? That's kind of where my mind went.
I think it's both of those. Like, where's my dude at? You know, missed my performance, but I know you missed it because
You out here playing this poker.
you out here doing something you don't need to be doing, you know. And I agree that she definitely had boundaries once it got to a certain point. But now you correct me if I'm wrong when it comes to like family members of addicts. Like, but that comes after so much damage has been done that you're almost forced to like not. This is the choice you have to make at that point.
Yeah, that's what I was just getting ready to say.
I was glad that Robert Townsend didn't show it like that, though. How we saw it in the Sparkle, because sister told Sparkle up.
Yeah.
But I was glad that she said, okay, I'm leaving. And then the reason she ended up coming back was to take care of him if he chose to
Stay sober. Which is what we teach is okay. As long as they sober and they're not active in their addiction, okay.
Yeah.
You can, but you still have to have boundaries.
And you can tell that she came and left and came and left, depending on what he was doing versus what her heart felt.
Right.
Yeah. Because she loved him.
She did. Because it seemed like they didn't show it, but I'm assuming she didn't get involved with other relationships while he was active. She just did her thing and let him do his thing, and when he was ready, then
Yeah, at least that's what it looks like. Absolutely. But you know, kudos to her. You know, of course, no film is going to be able to show all of the ins and outs, but based off the little snippets that you do see, I do say eventually kudos to her for choosing self and, you know, knowing like, I just can't handle this anymore, despite how much my heart may want to be with you. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
It's hard.
But then after he leaves Babydoll from telling, go ahead, Dr. Strick. That's your part.
This is where I wrote about all the attachment stuff that I had.
It just broke my heart.
It did, because he was proud.
Yeah.
And even though he wasn't like a jump for joy type of individual, he was proud and he wanted to go share this information. One, I imagine, as a way to prove to his father that I am going to be more than what you say I am. Mm-hmm. But then his dad just annihilated him and told him he won't gonna be nothing.
'Cause I ain't nothing.
Because I ain't nothing. Like, so you just gonna prophesize over me because you chose not to do nothing with your life.
And the reality is you obviously are something, because you do seem to have a really good woman by your side who loves you and all of that stuff. You just don't like where you are in life. So instead of you dealing with that, you're projecting all this crap on your baby.
Yeah.
And then you turned around with the same breath and said, I love that boy. I just want him to be a better man than me. Sir, how?
How, Sway? How, Sway? You gotta build him up.
Because that's coming in a minute. Right. I was like, this song ain't never made more sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Until I put these two together. I said, these lyrics.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I got to get my tear ducts together.
Oh, yeah, the lyrics. And if you really listen to these songs, I was like, ooh.
Is there a heart?
Okay.
Yes.
And that scene touched me, especially because as somebody who daddy
Which
not,
one? Okay.
Daddy not in like fully in my life or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I was like, ooh, just hug the baby. Just,
Yeah.
The mama all happy. How'd you do? Did you do good?
Right.
Like it don't even have to be all of that. Like even if he didn't make it as the 5 heartbeats, like this is the time where he dreaming and figuring it out. And he's actually got a plan. Y'all don't even get to share in the dang thing.
No, not at all. And, you're creating the very thing that you say that you think he's going to become, even though your words behind the scenes say the opposite. Right. So how would your son ever know that you really do have high hopes for him if the only thing that you feed him is trash?
Yeah.
You can't take a plant and pour oil in it and then be like, oh, I want you to grow. Because once in a while I might pour some water in there. Like it just it don't work that way. And you're creating this insecurity in your son where he's going to go try to seek validation and support and nurturance and encouragement in other people and other things. And it ended up destroying his life for a time period.
Yeah.
It was really sad. And it's hard, when you have such dichotomy in your parents as well. Because from the brief little moments that we saw Mom, she seemed to be like
supportive,
very supportive of him and, wanted him to do good. So you have one end of the spectrum, but then you have the other end that just basically says you ain't gonna be nothing. How do you balance those two ideas and the like internal, dissonance that you will feel on the inside that I'm meant for better, but I'm not going to be able to actually achieve it or sustain it.
I imagine it's a tug of war for him.
Oh,
because obviously, okay, I know I have this talent to sing and I have this singing group that I'm in and we're doing well and we're going, forward. But then there's still a part of me is like, when am I going to mess this up?
You can only speak death on somebody so long before they die.
Yes.
That, words have power. I think we've talked about this before, like the fact that you can say something into the water as it freezes and it'll show up in different shapes depending on what you said or whatever. And you putting that type of negative vibe on your kid, you really he gonna struggle to get to a good place, which is exactly what we gonna, see him go through.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's very sad. So then they cut back to Jimmy's house, and this is where we meet Sarge.
Yes.
And I was like, this is an example of experience over youth.
Yes.
And how they thought because he was on the outside, a old drunk, because that's what he looked like when he walked in.
He did.
I think he did it on purpose.
they thought that youth was going to be the thing to show, like, hey, we got it. You don't know nothing about these, these.
Show them, Dresser.
Yeah, they were so hyped.
Feelings were so hurt though.
I know.
Why you didn't just tell me I wasn't doing it? But calm down, Dresser.
But you know
down.
what? That's why I also agree with your statement that you just made about age and because Jimmy didn't even entertain like the upsetness that he comforted. Right, he comforted him, but then once old boy got ready to do his thing, he was like, "Okay, I'm walking off."
Diahann was like, "Come on back in, baby." They was in the back laughing at them the whole time.
Exactly.
She was like, "Oh, he about to really show them." And he said, "Dum dum ding 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 ding." I was like,
his feet was going.
Okay,
yeah.
I said, look at that. That's its experience over youth. Because and I think that's one of the downfalls or pitfalls with being young is that assumption that your youthfulness makes you stronger, makes you better, makes you
quicker.
Just more.
Yeah, more talent.
Yeah. And it's that self-centeredness, not in a like narcissistic kind of self-centered way, but you're just very focused on you and your skill and your ability, and you forget that, like, well, someone had to teach you how to do these things. You didn't just learn this stuff out of nowhere. You watched somebody that was more experienced than you to learn how to do these things. And I think in that moment, ego and the hype of your friends got your feelings hurt.
Yeah. Well, he said you might learn something.
And he did.
Yep.
He showed them up.
But I was like, even though those were two different styles of dancing.
Yes.
But he showed you up, sir.
He did. Because it was the footwork. That's what it was. Because dress, all you were really, and 1 and 2. And
you did straight 8 count, sir.
And 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. And
toe his knee up on that split.
Because I'm like, first of all,
what
kind of split is that? That's no.
He probably didn't have enough space either. But I needed them to plot the scene better.
I needed you to put another 2-step in there. Then don't do that split because that don't look good, sir. You in competition right now.
And as Sarge later says, we not winning with lazy legs.
Yeah.
All right. So then after, he was like, we not going with the crazy legs. Sarge goes into his like teaching mode, which I like this small little montage because I was like, it shows that their dedication, their work ethic.
And I like that Eddie was there. Eddie was like Bobby Brown to me.
Ooh,
that's not that level though.
That's good. Yeah,
he was that person in the group, but not Bobby's level.
Yeah, I like that comparison. And I think you can see that again. I think we said this earlier. A lot of parallels to a lot of different groups throughout the film.
Yeah,
but here come one of the. This is my
because dress is DeVoe.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, good one. Okay, got that one.
So we get to the talent show thing, and they're doing their, like, I guess, dry run in the beginning.
Mic check, sound check. No, what they doing the sound check?
They had already done their mic check, but Bird and the Midnight Falcons, and they didn't have on no midnight. But that's not the point. I got problems.
They had on white.
Yes,
with a feather, right? What?
I said, sir, that plume is reminding me of taco meat.
It was a lot going on.
They injure your nose. I mean, I know it ain't that close up, but I mean, like when you move, he was doing a lot of movement.
Yeah, a whole lot.
I said, get his jacket off his neck.
And they was trying to drag him, and I was like, sir, you too big for them to be.
I was like, he acted the mess out of this.
He did such
scene.
a good job.
He did a phenomenal job.
I like that he was himself and he was about getting to the top, and it wasn't about nobody else. It was just about that. It wasn't a rivalry.
I know.
Yeah.
Because what I wrote in my notes was old cheating ass.
I did. That's what I was like, that's what you get for. So you ain't good enough to beat them. So you gonna go ahead and start plotting to cheat.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it might have been a closer situation if they hadn't, because it was so dramatic.
Yeah. I wrote in my notes about competition, since we had just kind of went over that in one of the last sessions. And I was like, see, this is, it could have been a true healthy competition. And showed Bird and them what their real abilities were had they gone into this not scheming, trying to win. But you would have been able to see like, okay, so this is where we need to improve. You know, we were talking about that, you know, comparison and using that as a gauge. Like if you're going to engage in comparison and competition, what is your reason for doing so? But if you're using it for quote unquote evil, then, you know, you really like, are you as good as you say you are? Now when they performed, it was entertaining.
They did great.
It was definitely
really
entertaining.
Which one?
Burden and the non-Midnight Falcons.
It was definitely entertaining, especially when he had like tried to cry. He was.
I say you better be acting like these groups did back in the day.
Because I was wondering, I was like, was that a James Brown movie?
It was straight up James Brown.
It was.
But I was like, the level of trickery though, because you got the MC, which is Homeboy's cousin, and I'm like, that's an old cousin. That's your second cousin. And then you got Cookie out here
and her homegirls.
Exactly.
I was like,
they did the dang thing
they
too.
Did.
I have seen it because I used to do like PR stuff in the music industry, and I'm like, ooh, Lord, this is bad. This is so bad.
Yeah. Everybody was in on it.
Everybody had their space, their spot.
And I was like, her friends really showed up and showed out.
Because I'd have been there like, I'm not supposed to do all that. I'd have been
the one with sitting there like, yeah.
That's like, her makeup was horrible.
I was like, why you didn't get up for him? Like your homegirls ran up to the stage and was doing that. You just sitting there like,
y'all better be my minions.
Yes.
And then he didn't even keep her.
He didn't.
Because he had a nice little chocolate woman.
He did.
Yeah.
But I will still say that his acting was impeccable. It was so believable.
I was really proud of him. I really almost wish his group could have took the place of Flash's group. Almost, so that he could have gotten the group like... I'm getting ahead of myself, but I almost wish that because he did such a good job.
He did.
But then we wouldn't have got the balcony scene.
Right.
So,
because also when they were looking at them on the stage before the show began, I was like, as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, Jadina.
Yeah.
Now that.
We love him, y'all.
Yes.
That man is,
I had just
that's
got
another
warm,
sexy
like
one.
all over, like my face started getting flush.
He was on my timeline today walking, and he had on little 70s bell bottoms today. I said, sir, you knew we was going to do this film?
Because that swag on him be like...
It just don't even make sense.
Make me want to get me a Naja boy. And I was like, I wasn't even trying to date nobody.
Man.
But he in the polyamory. I don't want to share. I ain't going to be the
At least he's being honest about it, Bill.
Yeah, he is.
But that was the first thing that came to my mind as soon as I saw Bird.
He really do. The younger version of who this actor is, they look like they related. They could be brothers for real.
Oh,
and they got the
same hair,
sandy hair at the time. You know,
yeah, it was a lot. But then it's time for the 5 Heartbeats to go on, and the MC was just was
messy.
trash and messy. Talking about the house got to do the piano.
Oh, cloudy-eyed self.
And he was like, man, get off my back. I was like, no, you made this up. You made up the house rule.
You just made this up. That's why you don't want me to talk to who
The
is
manager.
above you. Because you made this up out of thin air, sir.
Because why would the host ever be coming to tell you anything?
And didn't the group before y'all you use your own pianist?
Man, the trickery, the deception. It was just everywhere.
And it's because they are just such a straight-laced group. They are really by the book group. And so they were like, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and follow the rules. Even though Jimmy did give them an option. Do y'all just want to walk? JT was like, I ain't leaving. Or that was that Eddie.
Dresser. He was like, ain't nobody talking about leaving the group. I mean, leaving the show.
And then they went out there and was about to bomb.
Them chords were horrible. That little man playing them notes like that,
dragging that song,
and then gonna have the nerve to be like, "Man, go ahead."
And Doug was like, "First of all, this my name. You're not getting ready to mess up my music."
He was
I
hurt.
Appreciated it.
He was like, "That's my music, man. That's my music." You know, Choirboy ran because he's scary.
Well, he got paper thrown at him too.
He used to this. He had models last time.
He just should have stood up there and took it.
Okay.
He stayed longer than last time though.
did.
But oh,
And I was like, I love Sarge. He is such a little spitfire.
He is.
He was, and that hold my cane. That lets you know right there. That's his line.
I beat both of yous.
Like you stole something.
Okay. And then one of my favorite parts also in this film is when he pushed that piano player off that
Girl.
bench and he
He
went flying.
lifted him up.
And the bench fell and everything.
He said,
And then when Eddie came with that,
and he was standing there like, "Oh, you I wish you would throw something at me. I'm sick of this snatch." And then,
Okay.
I said, "This is your. You like these notes, sir?
You okay?
Yeah.
You and Choirboy."
Oh yeah. And then there go. I was just telling Dr. Jones Hines that my mama's one of her favorite parts is when the mama stand up.
Yes,
And she's like, my baby.
And the daddy smiled too.
he did. This is the scene that had me a little teary eyed when you listen to the words because it's talking about a heart is a house for love, but I've learned it don't take much to
break a heart.
break a heart. And so he's going into detail and he's looking at his daddy. And I was like, oh, don't let his eyes water. Even though clearly in the movie the eyes don't water. My eyes was watering.
Yeah, when he hit that first, my eyes started watering. I was like, Ed, I love it when people do it, right?
I was just sitting there like cheesing the whole time. Like, actually, I was cheesing and singing in my own, in my own notes.
Yes, if you gonna do a
time.
musical drama, I need your pantomime to be on Jennifer Lopez level.
Yeah.
Okay? We didn't know stuff for many decades.
So good. And
It
then, of
was.
course, he was like, come on, Eddie.
Did he say like we did in the tunnel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because remember when they was doing the snapshots with Sarge, they was in a tunnel in one of them when they was practicing.
That's right. Okay.
And it's actually the tunnel that they go back to when
That's yes.
it just ain't clean no more.
Right.
So then they do their little harmony. Well, first off, before I even go there, Cookie over there just losing her mind
She was moving.
with him holding this note. And then proceeded when he just gave her a little peck on the bottom lip.
He talking about, what is this? Come get her. Come get this peasant.
Not peasant.
That's how he was doing this. Like he was the king. Eddie Kane. Not King, y'all. The man's name is Eddie Kane Jr. Okay? Ain't no G in that. But he was just,
He did though.
He did.
And her friends was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. A mess. I said, look at her. Look at her.
You plotted him and tried to get them booed off.
I mean, I could understand how overcome she was because, as a kid, had that been like immature or something?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
High five.
It was the
There's
boys for
plenty
me.
of pictures
Hakeem.
of them all over my room as a teenager.
Hakeem was my dude from the boys.
I haven't
Yes.
heard that in a long time.
Yes, yes.
Whew. Reminisce. But this one I thought was really good because I think that they were a group, already, but I think this
solidified
yeah,
it.
that was
synced.
that was it.
Because they did their little hand thing build at the end. I was like, okay, yeah, there y'all go.
But why was Duck's face so goofy? What is this?
Yeah, they couldn't get that snap on beat at first.
I was like, Paul Robert Townsend, he just is. His
Yeah,
rhythm is not there. But we appreciate you.
we do because you made a cult classic in black film. So then, of course, they go to the restaurant after this, and I was like, JT is such a freaking snake.
My God.
Before we go into this,
Okay.
this is showing the progression. Because remember, after the first one, they were at the diner. Now they at a little bougie black
True.
club.
True.
Like the Nicholas brothers are about to just come outside.
Y'all should have saw the footwork.
Had to do my little tap dance. I do a little tap.
That's the first thing I think of when I think of them too. But yes, so they are at a little more swank posh place now. But the whole time I was like, yo, such a freaking snake. Like, why are you doing this to your brother?
Shot brother like that with your brother.
And I'm trying to
why
figure
does it
out,
have to be about you?
Mm-hmm.
it makes you really look at their relationship. Like, why did you have sibling rivalry when you're the oldest? It's obvious that there's been some type of favoritism in the group because of the way you are presenting as a man.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why you would be jealous of your younger brother, because obviously he's not the baby because it's 10 children. But it was a weird dynamic.
Well, if you have 10 children, so I'm assuming JT may be the oldest of the 10.
He's the oldest, and then
I think then
him.
Duck
after that.
Yeah.
So I would assume if you have 10 children of varying ages that you do have to vie for attention.
Yes.
And you got to get it any way that you can. You know, are people in the comments that have multiple levels of siblings? You know, because I even think about my parents. Both my parents have double-digit numbers of siblings. So, you know, I can only imagine. Now, both my parents are at different parts of the double digit. One's at the very end and one is kind of in the middle. So I imagine that there's a fight for attention, not having to be parentified if you're the oldest, kind of like JT. So if he was good at stuff, you just don't know. We don't have all that background
and
to
I
see.
can see that. It's just for them to be as close as they are throughout this movie, for him to have this type of competitiveness against his brother, and the fact that you can tell that it's really Duck who takes care of the family.
True.
You know what I mean? It's not that true firstborn.
Yeah.
Like, it's really
which
he's
may
the
be
hero.
the problem for JT.
That could be.
Yeah. I mean, if he is a true narcissist in the like in the personality disorder sense of that word, not just like the way people say it now where it's more kind of traits. You know, he was more in line with like the truer version of what when clinicians talk about narcissism. You know, because it was literally all about him, whatever
90% of the movie.
You know, what he could get out of somebody, how it served his ego, how it made him feel good. If he won, you know, again about the competition, you know, he was essentially doing competition in reverse.
The only time you really didn't see that is when it was with Eddie. And it could have still been self-serving because it was affecting the group.
How was he going to do that? Let's think about that.
No, I get you.
Because, you know, Eddie is a force to be, he the street dude of the group. So, what you going to do?
Because even though they, it seems like JT and Duck grew up in a poor sense, that they still had a privilege that Eddie didn't have. You know, they had family. You know, they had foundation. They had solidity. Even though there may have been funny dynamics between, but the core was there.
And he was the only Eddie.
Oh, yeah.
But I just was like, why you just...
Yeah, like...
wasn't even looking at her.
Because he wasn't even paying the woman no attention.
Until
he went over there, because even
before he saw
her, but he still kind of like focused on something else while they was at the table.
If you look at
Duck reminded him,
right, and he was like,
right,
I got you. No, you didn't have him.
You had you.
Because how dare somebody give someone else attention other than me?
And he could legit have some sex addiction related stuff.
I was thinking that too later on.
But he didn't really talk in depth about the sexual component. It was more so about the chase of it.
But
so that's why it makes me think
agree
other
with the
stuff.
sex addiction because it didn't affect his life.
No, I'm not saying like
in the
specific, like not nymphomaniac
one.
level of sex addiction, even though that's an outdated term. But I'm saying more so like it's controlling him. He's a little obsessed about it. I mean, technically it is. It messed up his life. It technically did.
Because he messed over his brother.
We just ain't to that point yet. But it was controlling him. And the way he also discusses it in the car ride when they was on the Chitlin circuit.
Yeah.
On the Chitlin circuit. But the other piece in that little scene is all that glitters ain't gold.
Nope.
Because Miss Young Ma'am was a little polyamorous herself. Because her dude, soon as he got back from getting the drinks, slammed them drinks down on that table.
I gotta fight every night to prove my love.
And I said, bruh, in my notes, I said, bruh, then she ain't for you.
She for the streets.
Right.
Okay.
Or you need to figure out what type of relationship she want. Because it clearly is not what you want.
Y'all know that black man was not fit to go for that.
No.
I don't really know too many black men that's for real polyamorous.
Like truly?
No. I think
Clearly
they want to be polyamorous, but not necessarily they cool with a woman being polyamorous.
Because she was ready. Like
Evidently every night.
You really? Okay? Because I'm like, ma'am, yeah, he just went to go get drinks. It ain't like you here by yourself with your homegirls.
Right.
He just at the bar.
And y'all at an upscale place, so it's not like it's a long wait.
I'm like.
And you walked off with JT.
Left.
Like, did you forget? Did you forget?
Like I say so many times on our show, busted wide open.
Okay.
I'm like, what is happening?
I wonder what happened to JT. Like, they don't show like
He got beat up.
I know, but I wish they
wish to show the aftermath.
Because Doug was laughing.
Yeah.
He was sad. He's like, how you just gonna take my girl? And then he was like,
What did y'all hear what he said to him?
to Duck.
Yeah, when he was walking off with the girl.
he didn't say nothing.
No, he's
you talking about JT said to Duck.
Duck, yeah.
He said,
because I couldn't hear it, and I
don't
rewinded
know.
it several.
I played
What
you.
did
I think he said something along the lines of I played you or you lost or something like that. But I was just like, sir, you agreed to the rules against the girl, not the rules against your brother.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't even know the rules of the game, sir. That's you playing with the wrong rule.
Or you could have just been like, nah, but I'm gonna go get her. Like you.
But you weren't even paying her no attention.
None.
Which makes me think that she was not your type.
Right.
It was purely competition in reverse.
Because as soon as you sat down, you start downgrading your brother.
Immediately, look at him. He over there, look cornball. Then put down his sexuality. I was just like, Lord have mercy. If he knew you was over here saying this stuff about him,
Tell me
just
what
over here
you really
smiling.
think. Looking
but he did
weird.
He looks
because he instantly went from looking halfway decent to then he did look like a cornball.
right.
I mean,
In those moments,
I'm not gonna lie, I would have still dated Duck. Because there would have been something creepy with a man talking about his brother like that to me. Now, if he would have came in a different way, the suave version, then I'd have been like, come on.
Well, first of all, no, you wouldn't have, because you was there with somebody.
Oh, no, I wouldn't have. I'm saying outside of the... Y'all know.
I know.
Y'all know me.
See, wait,
Why
hold
you
on.
sitting down?
Wait a minute. Hold on. How we forget that quick?
Y'all know the introvert me is like, this somebody else see. Go.
Because we started talking about Leon. That's why we
I got distracted in my
I
mind.
guess that makes sense then. Because we did the same thing.
Yes.
It's called the Leon effect.
Yes.
It is.
Man, he was just like, yeah.
And he's still fine.
He
His little
is.
fade he got now, y'all follow him on social media?
I see him every now and then, but
That
yeah.
man is
Yeah.
sexy. Okay, we gonna get off
Okay,
of
we're
him.
gonna get back on the movie, y'all. Sorry. We digress. But then they cut a little bit away where Eleanor, I was thinking she's just kind of like the mom in Sparkle, where, she wants to protect, and the way she was looking at was it Red?
Yeah.
Big Red.
She was just like,
But you can tell that there is some bad blood. Maybe not directly, because from what we're seeing, because I don't really think Jimmy would have dealt with him like that. But you can tell that there's been some bad blood somewhere and some going behind the back trying to steal Eleanor.
Well, he said
something like
later on the same old Big Red.
Yeah.
So I was like, why did you start dealing with him?
But I don't think he probably hadn't done it to him. The
That's
music
He
industry
just
small.
knew about it.
Yeah.
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 And she was just like,
She wasn't feeling him at
she
all.
gave him that Satin Struthers look when she was like, I know
And
a
did
rat
not
when I
smoke the
see
cigarette
one.
with him.
No, she was not feeling him at all. She was like, You get away from me.
Speaking that French to her, and she's, oh, girl, he just make you need to go have to take a whole bath. And not a shower, a bath.
His energy was just too much for me on that part.
He is a true malignant narcissist.
Oh, yeah. I said that was Suge Knight right there.
Oh, girl, I thought the same thing.
I said, did he take his playbook from Big Red?
It's the level of charisma and the fact that you have the majority of people in the world thinking that you are this one. Suge Knight was just who he was, but in this scenario, they thought you was really this upstanding person. The world did, but the level of gangster, boo, in you, it was too much.
It was.
I was just like, oh.
Yeah,
like
especially when
crawling.
you know what's coming. Yeah, it's one thing if you haven't seen the movie before, which how, but you know when you know what's coming, it feels even more slimier.
Yeah,
but even his approach to the boys, he was doing some serious shucking and jiving.
He was.
Yeah.
Hashtag troping too.
Ooh, we throwing him in there today.
Yeah,
because the way he was smiling too, right? Oh, everything
and the dancing. Oh, sit down, go
laughing.
to your table.
You know, and this is one of those lessons in discernment. So again, this is another throwback, you know, in how you watch people, how you pay attention to how they move, what they say, their energy.
Yeah.
And you assess, is that in line with my own?
And how does that make you feel?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, I think he tries to give the business card to Eddie. Eddie looking at him like, and that's probably the last time Eddie looked at him like that. And I'm like, Eddie, you should have went with your first gut. You should have known someone right. You deal with people like him every day.
How you didn't know he was slimy?
Monroe
was feeding that need.
He was. And he was the soft version, you know, that good cop, bad cop. Monroe was the good cop.
Psychopath, sociopath.
There you go.
Both paths to
right there.
To hell.
And like we said before about Eddie, that search.
Yeah.
You know, that
and
search
it's a
for
father figure.
Yeah. Just levels. And it was so funny because I was talking about this with somebody a couple of days ago about searching for attention. And that negative attention for some people is just as good and magnetic as positive.
Yep.
And for Eddie, I don't think for him, he was able to differentiate the types of attention. For him, it was just someone was paying homage to me, and it served that need for him, you know, feeling lonely and isolated and unloved and underappreciated, that even Monroe showed him friendship, even though it was steeped in corruption and manipulation and all of these things. But because I am so need starved, I will soak up anything.
Yeah. And this, Dr. Jones-Hines can talk more on this because this is her expertise. This shows how it's easy to get swept up in the drug scene. Because a lot of times when people are using drugs, even if they are recreational at first, it turns into something else because they're covering things up. And then you get to a place where, okay, I'm no longer numbing or covering. I'm truly addicted now, and I'm trying to chase that high, and I can't make clear decisions about what's going on around me.
And that's what I was just talking to somebody about that a couple of days ago, and I was telling them all addicts start somewhere. It can start off as recreational, but most addicts that I have sessions with, they'll say, I don't even know how I got to this point, because you started. You had to start. And the worst thing that an addict a person that is struggling with attachments, insecurities, and the worst thing that they can do is pick up something that's going to alter their mood.
Yeah. Because
now they found something that works quickly to get them out of the mindset of negative self-talk.
And that's also why it's so hard to detox, and because the withdrawals, I think a lot of people, when they hear withdrawals, they think you're talking about physical. They don't realize the mental and emotional withdrawals that be with that, and you raw.
Yeah, the flood of things that start coming back.
Yeah, because that's one of the things that when I was working in rehabilitation facilities, I would tell my clients there, look, I know when you come in here, we expect for you to stop using all substances. So the thing about this is I have to give you something immediately to replace that with, because if I don't give you something immediately, you're going to be like, forget what Dr. Jones-Hines says. I'm getting ready to go back out and use because I'm also talking about the stuff. So it's fresh on my mind.
Yeah. And that's a lot of times why when I was in that field, I'd be like, certain drugs, you need to go somewhere and detox because it is too hard. And that's not to say that the person is not strong or whatever, because you know how people be tripping. And like, no, your body gonna go through something that I don't think anybody need to go through.
Yeah, your body is, and I tell, for the same reason, well, in addition to that reason, I tell them you need to start off detoxing in a facility where it's safe, so you can start talking about this stuff. And so when you come back to me, you've already broken the Pandora's box, and now the hard layers are already talked about in a safe environment.
Yeah. I know, and I think for us, I think we do this in our clinic facility, private practice. My brain went blank, y'all. Like we even have this rule where you gonna certain drugs you gonna have to be off 90 days because I'm not fighting a cocaine rage. You got to die today.
Well, you gonna feel like the therapy is not working. Because I can't fight against therapy. I mean, I can't fight against the drug. I'm gonna lose. Yeah. Because what I'm giving you is you got to sit in it and you got to work based on that. Yeah.
And how you gonna sit in it when you already raw and broken?
Right.
You got to heal a little bit before you can tear who you believe yourself to be completely down, and you're doing that. So for anybody out there that's struggling with addiction, definitely, utilize your resources because they are there for a reason. It's not saying that you're weak or anything like that. Use them.
And it's a hard thing to do. At the end, Eddie does say, he works in steps and stuff like that, but it's a hard thing that's a hard step to take to go to rehab because you have to go away from your family. You have to be off of your job. It's hard, but it's harder to live that life.
Yeah. Ooh, y'all said a word right there. Man. So as all movies seem to do, they make a hard left turn after this.
Of course.
And it's Duck trying to figure out a song to write for. They getting ready to go on the road,
trying to get their little other singles together.
And he can't seem to get the notes right and the words right, and then little sis is mad because you keep throwing these, I guess, pieces of. I don't know what kind of
piece. Like it was trash bag torn up.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I was like, is this lunch bag paper?
That's what it was.
Paper bag. Like. Like, what is this? It's brown paper. I know that. But he's throwing them all over the room. And I'll be upset too, especially if Mama got 10 of us and she said this house need to be clean by the time she get home.
And this is my area to clean.
Yeah. And all the kids is in this one room. They got that bunk bed, and then they had a set a bed on the wall side. So I was like, y'all got 10 people in this one room?
And you keep throwing paper everywhere. And she proceeds to tell him, it ain't this daggone hard, boy.
Just put this word with this word.
And she better got her writer's cred, okay?
Okay.
Little ass cap, okay?
Yeah. Because then she proceeded to sing, and... for her age, I think she did really well.
She killed it.
Yeah, I think she did a really good job of singing that, if that was her singing.
I think it was. I think her real name is Theresa. She doesn't have a name in the movie. She's just Duck's little sister. I think it's Theresa. Yeah, we didn't look up hers.
But she did a good job. This was another one where I was like, oh, you probably should have done a little bit of a reshoot, because there was some times where it's like you didn't quite have the paper ready, but she was already singing the words.
Yeah. And even her little ad libs, I was like, okay, that fit right there, because you was trying to give him enough time to get you the paper, but he didn't make it.
Yeah.
Still didn't. He was struggling.
Yeah.
He was. But I was like, I get the sentiment. We gonna let it pass because we love the film.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was cute. And I was like, can the whole family sing? Is this on some Wayans stuff where everybody in the family is talented? Do something except for the cousins.
Oh, God.
Except for the cousins.
They are there for love and comedy.
Okay.
They have purpose.
Oh, so they do have talent. They comedy.
They just,
Support.
they in the wrong
Yeah.
genre. They want to be in the music.
Their talent is support.
Yeah.
Yes.
And being there for people. I also thought it was cute the way she kept pushing him away, where he was trying to get her more words. And she's like, boy, get off me. I'm in my zone, boy.
Right.
So I done did all the work. You got the rest.
Now go get them papers and make sure you put them back in the right order.
Right.
And sweep.
And put them clothes that you threw out them drawers out.
Yes.
Yeah, back in them drawers.
So I thought that was really cute. Then we cut over to, again, another hard left turn. The record exec. And
yeah, they had to shop the CD, not CD, what did they have? Album.
Mm-hmm. I think it was like 45 back then.
Mm-hmm. And then they tried to whitewash their sound
with the 5 horsemen.
Now, if y'all don't know this, stop.
Ain't got no money.
Just Jack. Horrible. The Jack is what hurt me.
And the wigs.
Jack. Jack. Why would you need to put that at the end of every phrase?
Yes.
But for our interns that don't know this history lesson, this is a common practice that would be in the music industry back in the day, and sometimes still happens. Jennifer Lopez and Ashanti, where you have a good group, but they don't want to allow them to sing and be the group. They want to give all of their hard-earned work to a white group that is just not doing nothing.
Because he had the nerve to say,
that rep was like, he was going with him too.
He had the nerve to say,
it's the unseasoned chicken for me.
I don't think this is a good song for y'all.
We wrote it.
How is it not a good song for us?
And how was you going to get the rights to it?
That's what I didn't understand.
That part.
But you could easily get taken in this industry.
But and he was jamming too when the 5 horsemen came out.
I mean, their harmonies was nice.
He had that like with the 2 fingers.
Like they was saying it like perfectly.
Like it was the orchestras.
I mean, I was like, what?
I was so mad. It's the culture vulture for me.
Blatant.
Mm-hmm.
Then they started snapping.
Yeah,
it was just so much. I was like,
and this is the hard part. And then this is another piece that reminded me of Sparkle as well, because now you have to go to where Styx went to the Loan Shark, but I mean, well, essentially Jimmy did too, but Loan Shark in a different way.
He got TLC'd. That's what
it
was.
So now you got to go to, the big bad wolf, and now you got to get it done this way. And I was like, did you not read the contract? You said, it looks good, but did you take it?
See,
because even Red gave him an out and said, I bet your lawyer couldn't find anything. So, Jamie, did you take it to a lawyer?
See, what the problem was with this contract is Jimmy asked all the questions that he needed to ask, but he put faith that Big Red would do right about the royalties and stuff like that, because that was how Red was skimming everybody money.
Mm-hmm. And the thing about it, when he answered it, Big Red, he really sounded genuine.
He did. Mm-hmm. But he wasn't, because he's a narcissist.
Yeah.
So,
but I would have been like, no, we do not have a deal. My attorney need to look at this first.
My thing is, I would have been like, yeah, we got a deal, but I'm not signing nothing to my attorney. Like that, it don't take all of that. And when you start going through all of this, and anybody who knows about Boys to Men, Belle Biv DeVoe, New Edition, TLC, that whole little group of people, you know that they contracts were wrong.
Yeah.
I would even say NWA, because that's why Ice Cube had to get that back, bruh.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as hip hop, but Suge.
That too.
I mean,
that too.
Like that.
he ain't gonna give you nothing, period. But it's just like, sir, the amount of money you can make if you do your client right.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
You could have the trajectory that they were on.
Yeah.
Had you done them right, all y'all would have been set.
Yes.
For life.
Mm-hmm.
Because even after everything, the only person that didn't have nothing was Eddie.
Mm-hmm. But that's because of his own doing.
Yes, because of his stuff. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only reason why.
But see, I think at that point, Big Red was so used to scamming off of the other groups that I don't know if they didn't progress or whatever, that it was just like,
well, they
that's
stayed
just
in the
his behavior.
hole, because the classic thing is that you start buying
cars,
doing advances,
and then you giving advances, when in actuality that stuff should be written into your contract. I'm not paying you nothing back. You take that out your cut and you have a budget, sir.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was a lot. I felt bad.
Yeah, I did too.
But didn't they get ready to get on what you call it, Dr. Wall, the Chitlin
circuit, because it was not a legitimate touring situation. Now, of course, you know, things are different for a black artist versus a white artist or a mainstream artist. So
at
of
that
course
time, for
you
sure.
definitely have to work. You're gonna be in Josephine's juke joint and everything else.
Only
So
person that looked comfortable in that juke joint was Eddie.
Okay.
He was in that thing.
He was in there with his people.
Yes.
poor little
Singing,
choir boy.
Choir boy would look just as scared as he was the first time we saw him.
Poor child.
But before they were leaving, what I did appreciate was
Pappy.
yes, JT and Duck's father trying to school them on using the protection that they just was not catching the hint at all.
I know,
and I was like,
how are y'all not
is
catching?
JT
Yes.
not catching the hint?
I could see Duck not, but JT, what? Why are you?
But my problem was they kinda were not using correct terminology for the time.
They
because
weren't.
they went to the 90s.
They did.
Oh,
And I was like, Robert, don't say what you said.
Yeah, I did notice that the lingo was incorrect for the time, and that probably also would have been incorrect recommendation for the time as well.
Yes.
But considering the film was made in the 90s, I appreciated it.
Yes. And Daddy got 10 kids, so
he's like, hey, we ain't got no room for no more kids.
Okay.
at all.
Don't be bringing no babies
But
back.
I'm trying to figure out why you ain't been told JT that.
Well, he probably don't know JT doing that
I don't know why.
because he doing it outside the house.
I guess
And
because
he
we
ain't-
see JT
and
different.
he ain't brought no baby home either.
That's true.
So he somehow has
Yeah.
gotten
Got around that.
somehow.
But in this scene, it was hard to like watch like the juxtaposition between the family that JT and Doug has, and then the family that Choirboy has. And not that it was horrible, but
I found it interesting that his dad didn't want him to go. The Choirboy's dad didn't want him to go, but you was carrying his luggage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm like,
And I thought that was interesting too, but I think it was just kind of Dad's was more fear based.
oh yeah,
You know, versus like I don't believe in my son, based kind of like how Eddie's dad was.
Hot mess.
Right, that Choirboy's dad was like, I really don't. I'm scared for you, son, that you're going to lose yourself in this process.
that
But
he's gonna lose God.
Ain't that too? But I understand that you do have to fly and create your own way, and I imagine the mama has probably had some influence in that conversation as well. Like the same way we had to find our own way, and this is where we ended up being led. Our son has to find his own way, and if this is where he is going to end up, he will find his way back to us.
Yeah.
You just got to trust the process.
Yeah, we skipped the whole thing.
We did where?
So Doug went to Tanya again.
Oh yeah,
That was
yeah,
right
yeah,
before
yeah.
that.
Shoot,
Went
did.
to Tanya again,
And
she
still didn't have no game.
still didn't have no game, but he was a lot more polished. Still crazy clothes, but he was a lot more polished. But she turned him down. She was like, I don't think that's gonna be a good idea. And in my head, I was like, is this because of the money stuff, or is this because of his brother?
Right.
Now
'Cause we
I'm
don't know.
wondering.
Right.
That's good.
But that's the thing. She didn't know who he was. That's what. And I don't know if it's because she hadn't seen him before, because she could have been creeping with JT somewhere else and not have met Duck. But I was like, you didn't know who Duck was.
And skipping forward to the part where JT and her are talking later on, I paid more attention to the dialogue this time, and it almost made me think that her and JT had been involved with each other before she and Duck ever.
Yeah, it was because he said, "Oh, you dating him? That's cool."
Yeah.
How, sir? So
when she didn't recognize him, that would make sense, because if she was already dealing with JT, then her eyeballs ain't had nothing for Duck, or if she would have even had any interaction with him.
Right. That's why I was thinking maybe they did their thing and Duck wasn't even around, because, he was a cornball, so he probably wasn't around his brother like that.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then the other thing we forgot is when they was on the radio.
Oh, that happened in that time?
It was right after that.
It happened right after that.
Because they was like
so happy,
half sleep with all the kids in the same bed.
And the cousins came in with their long johns.
With a stocking on their head?
Now, this is a good segue for Dr. Strickland, because they really may be developmentally disabled.
They seem like they are. The two cousins do.
Yes.
Because I was like, they a little touched, as the old folks like to say. Because I was like, it's something off with these cousins. I can't put my finger on it.
They the 60s and 70s hip hop Dalmatians, Ren and 10.
Okay. Yeah.
Shout out to Brown Sugar.
They definitely was a little touched. But then they get to jump back to where we were. Tour. They getting on the tour. They do their little show at whatever the little juke joint was, and they were lip syncing to their own song. And Eddie just a playing. I was like, really? Y'all could have really been singing, but he was just a playing. But I thought it was cute and funny. Then they pull up to a gas station to get gas, and we were all talking about this off the recording. Thank you, off air. I was gonna say off scene, but I was like, that's not right. And how we all noticed the things in the background this go round. I did not realize that there was so much Confederate flag and or racist memorabilia in the background. Because I think my focus as a kid watching this was on the phone call with Choirboy
and his daddy.
And for me, it was that and the Bible.
Because this is Choirboy's pivotal scene.
Yes, the Bible, and how they kind of did a long shot on that. So I think I completely just erased what else was going on around them.
Definitely.
And this time, I think being older and watching this film as an adult, because it's been some time since I've seen this film as well, especially at this stage of adulthood. I may have been in my early 20s last time I saw this film, but I think looking at it at this age, with the experiences that we've had over the most recent years being much more visible, it put some of those like, hold on, because my eyes immediately went to it.
Like this time, I almost didn't even see the Bible.
This time, I almost didn't pay attention to the phone call, like, because I was so busy. Like, wait, hold on, I don't remember that being in this scene.
And just so we get Choirboy out the way, he's on the phone with Dad, talking about you don't need to be doing this. It's the whole you can't serve two masters type of situation that he had said in the previous scene. But Choirboy then says, well, if you think this about me, then I'm just gonna do it, which is classic self-fulfilling prophecy. So, and then we segue back on to the racist.
Yeah. So then he leaves his Bible, which is, like Dr. Wall says, self-fulfilling prophecy coming up, because he's going to become a different person from that moment forward in the film. And then the guys are in the car and they get stopped.
But we can't forget about the conversation that JT was having about the women.
Oh, before we get into that, we realized that where they had stopped for gas has to be a sundown town. And anybody that does not grow up in the South. A sundown town is where it is not safe for Black people to be outside after the sun goes down. You need to be locked up in your house, not out and about, because you will not be living. You will be unalived by others.
The city that is adjacent to the one that I live in is a sundown town.
There's several in the good
Oh yeah, I mean,
old state of Texas.
I mean, pretty much the whole state of Texas is a sundown town. But I know specifically the one that is adjacent to the city that I live in is a sundown town.
It is,
and then to some extent, it still is.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, people still get drugged. People still die. As of 2 days ago. So you know.
But they are in the car driving, assuming to their next place to
super
perform.
Happy. It's very light. JT is talking about how he get his women.
He'll cry. He'll do anything
for it.
The disrespect, the manipulation.
And he'll deny it if they tell anybody that he cried.
My thing is, if you had been putting that much energy, you could have been the second lead singer. Because you can sing for the movie. You know, so I was just like,
your priorities was in the wrong place, sir.
So much so. And if you got to do all that to get a woman, now we know Leon is smooth. Okay, so we not Leon. We not talking about you.
We talking about
JT. Okay. But if you really was as much as you say you are, do you got to do all that in order to get a woman to do the things that you're trying to get her to do?
It's the level of insecurity within yourself for me, even though you got greatness all over you.
Because he probably wouldn't have, because he had the same old rap, like Duck was saying. He had the same old rap for years. Baby, let me hold you.
First of all, I'm hot. No, thank you. Hold yourself. It's COVID.
Oh my God, could you imagine that back then?
I was cringing through this whole movie. I was like, y'all,
this is
not.
The cake?
Yes,
I was like,
this is not that time.
When Eddie kissed the girl in the mouth, I was like, Eddie, we got COVID right now.
Put your mask on. You're not 6 feet apart, but clearly we're traumatized by this whole pandemic.
I know, because your eyes just see things in a completely different light now.
Okay, like, who would spit on cake? I wish I would get a cake going forward. That was so stupid.
Now thinking about it, I was like, "Ooh, they spit all over
the
that
cake." Like, you gonna have to take the candle out and turn and blow it out. Like, don't be blowing on the cake now, because I'm not eating it.
We was out here being reckless 2 years ago.
Okay.
It's so much going on in the world right now, and we could all use some extra support. At Balanced Beacon, we offer counseling services for individuals, couples, families, and groups. If you're in Texas, give us a call at 214-396-6503 or visit our website at www.balancedbeacon.com for more information.
Some people still being reckless.
But in the midst of this, the lights, the flashing,
lights,
that too starts, and they get pulled over.
And when I saw that, I was like, you know what? This is so not different.
I almost had a moment. I said, okay, I'm not in the movie.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the same thing we're going through now, and this is supposed to be in the 60s.
Yeah, the humiliation, the emasculation, the dehumanization,
the proving your value so that I don't unalive you.
Yeah. And I was just thinking, as a woman, I can only speak to this from a certain perspective. Also because I've never been, knock on wood, with law enforcement. I've never been put in a position like this, thank goodness. But just thinking about being a Black man in general, and then more specifically being a Black man during that time where it was open season. It definitely is still all very similar to today's time, but we have a lot more regulations in place now than 60s, they did back then.
They were still swinging from the trees.
Right.
Yeah, dehumanized for real.
Exactly. Like, just to think about, like, it was encouraged to do this type of thing at that time. And the amount of pride you have to swallow and place yourself in a dog-like position to
prove that you have value
and survive.
Which is why Black people as a whole, this is a general statement, have such an issue with disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're not going to be disrespected. We're not going to deal with no humiliation. That's also why you see so many people in the Black community having issues with, you know, homosexuality, because that was a form of punishment for a lot of Black men, is to be, you know, hurt in that bug breaking and stuff like that. So it's we have a long history of that. I had lunch with some Caucasian friends recently, me and the bestie, and they were talking about how they got to do a cross country trip across the country, and I was just like, must be nice, because I was like, there's no way I could just stop anywhere, you know, because my family from Tennessee, so all I kept thinking is, oh, okay, we can't stop in this town, we can't stop in this town, we can't stop in this town. Like when we used to go visit my great grandmother, we would leave in the dark so that we could get there in enough time to not be in any of the sundown towns.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I don't know, when I was in college, I don't know if this was more of a woman thing, or a combination of woman and being Black, but you know, where I went to undergrad was far away from where my mother lived. I mean, it was several hours, and there's literally, I mean, now at the time, now I have no idea what it's like, but there was not one single highway.
It's just trees.
Yeah, there was not one single highway to get from my college to where my mom lived.
I still don't think it is. I think it's
all country
road,
farm road, country road, single lane highway, a single lane road. No lights, no shoulder, like nothing. And it is nothing but trees, hick town, trees, hick town. I mean, there may be a gas station with one pump. So just thinking about like having to travel through something like this, and this is the early 2000s. So I can only imagine doing something like that in the 60s, where the highway system was at its infancy at that point.
Right.
Wasn't no highway.
Right. You know, I mean, 20 might have been a 2-lane road at that time. So just thinking about the amount of fear that overcomes you, the amount of preparedness you always have to be kind of carrying around with you. Yeah. It was just
and the level of nicety,
yes,
that you have to talk yourself into doing when you know that you're being humiliated.
The bow down.
Yeah.
And it kills some of the innocence. You know, that point is when you see them become men.
Because they all knew.
Yeah.
You know, when Dresser started singing, it was like they all knew.
Yeah. And that's the thing. They all knew when the light started flashing what could happen.
Yeah.
And like you said, when Dresser started saying, when I looked at Eddie, I was like, yeah, Eddie ready to get killed.
He was.
You know, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
I was gonna say another part of that kind of broke my heart, because military family is like, you just did our veterans like that, Sarge and Jimmy. Y'all, it's always this talk about back these people in our military or this or that, and then that really don't apply to everybody.
It probably didn't apply to them in the first place. They was hated when they got back.
Oh yeah,
while they were in.
Right.
Yeah, it's so much. I think watching this scene now as an adult had so much different meaning for me than watching it as a child and as a teenager. Like, I think that scene was like, oh man, that sucks for them. But like now it's like
you feel the hurt, the embarrassment, the humiliation, the emasculating,
going through your stuff, throwing your gifts for your wife out, and all, like, it's just.
And then you want me to prove that first of all, you didn't pull me over because I was a singer.
Right.
You pulled me over because whatever
racist.
Yeah. So why do I need to sing now? So now I got to tap dance? See, it's making me mad all over again. Let me stop talking.
Okay. So I think we beat
it's because the Memphis is coming out of her.
I think we beat that dead horse. Y'all get what we're saying, y'all. Y'all feel it too. But then they getting off the bus, and it's more tomfoolery.
Pause. Because that like haunting rendition that
the way they sang
Duck sang America.
Oh,
And then he stopped at the God shed his grace, but ain't none. And I was just like, oh Lord, let me get my life together.
Yeah,
just be walking around angry at people that ain't even here.
Okay, I'm all at Walmart mad at people because they're like,
you did this.
And they like,
didn't nobody do nothing.
I'm sorry, ma'am. What what are you talking about? You.
That's why let me just stay in the house. After I watch certain things.
Yeah, but then more tomfoolery happens when the ladies come,
more whitewashing,
and more whitewashing, and they try to do the Elvis Presley John with the album cover, and I was like, this, and I probably am gonna butcher this saying, but it made me think about when people say to the effect that you love black culture but you don't love black people.
Yeah,
that's it.
Because that's exactly what that was, and I was like, and I was thinking just kind of on a general note, that black people have something that just cannot be duplicated. I don't know what it is about the diaspora, whether that is actual individuals that are from the continent of Africa.
We are the 6th part. We're included now. They claim us.
Oh, they do.
I'm excited.
I was to say, and when I say that, across the whole diaspora, people from the continent of Africa as well as Caribbean, West Indies based American descendants, like all of us, like there's just something that cannot be duplicated. And I don't know what it is that is so different about us, the way we move. Again, this is as a whole. Everybody's different and there's outliers, but as a whole, I don't know what it is that's within us that's just so awesome,
dynamic, different. I can keep going.
Special.
Yes.
I mean, that's why we keep getting stolen.
Yeah. It was just so interesting. And again, watching this as an adult with different eyes and appreciation for who I am and what it actually means to be black. Because I would definitely say, I know watching this film as a kid, I had no real concept of what being black was.
You're not supposed to.
Yeah, like I don't even know if I knew that I was black. And not that I thought I was white or I thought I was anything like that.
There's no concept of it.
Yeah, I didn't have a concept
and
of it.
And I watched this film with my with my family. And like they didn't explain it to me, but I don't think I'm not gonna tell you. I was still young.
Yeah.
So I think we were all young the first time. So I don't think our parents were going to break this movie down for us as a kid.
Exactly. It wasn't like they needed to, because I was still too young to probably even grasp that concept anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. I definitely know the first time I saw it for sure. I mean, we're talking elementary age here, but as I saw it, as I got older, I still don't, even though then at that point I knew I was black, I still didn't have a concept of what that really meant other than to say, yes, I'm black. But like I wasn't tied to anything.
There's not as many, it wasn't as many freedoms to be that back in the day. There's more knowledge freely accessible now. We don't have to go digging for it or any of that. So you can have honor in being a black person now. And it's not like, I can't think of no words that's appropriate for our show, so I'm just gonna leave it there.
Yeah, but what I would say is I appreciated the scene in a different way now, with that better, more sophisticated understanding of self and what they were saying.
Yeah, because
what
Eddie
they were
and
feeling.
JT had some good statements that they made. I can't remember all of them, but they did have some good statements.
I like that they got Dresser together, because Dresser is the peacemaker of the group. Which
it made me wonder, but I don't think it was. It made me wonder if he knew that his girlfriend at the time was pregnant, and he was just trying to go along to get along.
Not yet,
he didn't
because
know.
she was just getting off the boat. Not the boat,
the
bus. Lord, driving the boat. I've been watching Megan Thee Stallion too much.
And we've been in here drinking on our blueberry
non-Stella Rosa. But this also reminds me of something going on right now. I don't know if y'all saw this, because it literally is happening today and yesterday, that Balenciaga has made a pair of gray
I saw
sweatpants
that
sag, but they got the boxers sewn into them.
So you ain't really got to sag them?
And in the picture, they got the shirt tucked in to the boxers on top of the gray sweatpants, and they like $1,000. And I said, so it wasn't appropriate for inmates to show their sexuality and sag. Then that comes out of the jails and it becomes black culture. Y'all don't like the sagging, but now y'all gonna profit thousands of dollars per pant. I said, y'all done lost y'all M&F in minds.
Well, again, like we were saying, we have something that can't be duplicated, even if it came out of a struggle, or it came out of a system that was tied to being brutalized.
Yeah.
That we just still have something that just cannot be duplicated. But I do appreciate, yes, I agree with you with them holding Dresser accountable and like, nah, like this is not okay. That you cannot do this and profit off of us and pretend like we don't exist.
Right.
And have individuals, because everybody already know Elvis Presley was out here vulturing hard.
Man, that messed my childhood up. And I was young when all of that stuff started coming out about Mr. Presley being a racist and stealing black artist things such as Little Richard and things of that nature. I was like, dang.
Sidebar, because Leon played Little Richard.
Yes,
too.
he did play Little
and
Richard.
He was looking very Little Richard in that
and David Ruffin.
And David Ruffin with that conch and the way he had that
I felt that in my spirit though. It was simmering. I liked it. I said, okay.
Way he had that rag tied around his head. I said, look at that. Look at all the projections and foreshadowing to come.
They know you gonna play a timepiece.
Okay.
Good job, sir.
Sorry, that was my little segue when we were talking
Richard.
about. But they get to the hotel because they done been through some things, and they trying to get their mind right and get together. Eddie out there, he ready to just drag on his cigarette.
Yeah, but it started with Duck though.
Oh yeah,
with that
the bucket of KFC
chicken. I said, he got the old bucket.
He did.
And he out there gonna do his normal thing right because JT in there with a girl. But we find out that
it's Choirboy.
Choirboy
he done showed
shifted because Eddie came out there with that pillow. He thought, what you doing out here, sir? Choirboy got a girl.
And then you know what? That's the one thing I can say about, until later on. One thing I can say about Eddie, he was faithful to Babydoll.
Sure was.
He was.
Whole time.
He was. He loved her.
He did.
I mean, as the film progresses and gets to the end,
yeah,
you do ultimately know, like, she really was like his I don't know, soulmate, twin flame. I don't know which one of the versions of that we would want to say, but she was it.
Yeah.
It's like when we were talking about nice boys, good boys, or whatever, and he wasn't sacrificing his queen. He blew the whole board up, unfortunately.
He blew the whole board up, but around her,
she was protected.
Yeah. Because everybody else, he was like, F y'all.
Because she was emotionally hurt, so I'm not saying that doesn't count for something, but he still protected her, even though it was dysfunctional, and never actually, from what we're seeing, never actually did this stuff around her.
Right.
She was like, I know we out of order, but I know who he is to you.
Because I was thinking about that same scene, because how he even when Monroe, thank y'all, when he was trying to get him to like basically get her check her,
you ain't got your girl in check.
He still did.
If he was playing on the ego and going with the man card, that could have went completely left.
Yes,
but he didn't. He was still respectful to her, even though he tried
outside your bounds a little bit there now.
He tried to
Real
hold her
soft-spoken.
to hold her accountable. Because I'm like, I bet she would have went rah-rah on his behind had he came at her sideways.
But she also didn't come to him sideways.
She didn't.
They were very respectful of each other.
Even in his
matched
addiction.
he matched her energy. She didn't give him nothing aggressive.
Yeah.
So it was no need for him to do that.
True.
We're going to come back to that scene in a minute.
We will. But
they were in the hallway.
Yeah, the point of that is that Eddie is a down dude. For the people, again, he's searching for family. And when we learn that Dresser has him and his sweetheart are having a baby.
Brenda got a baby, but
Yes.
Brenda barely got a brain. Damn. I'm sorry.
The girl can't even spell her name.
All of that. He was the first to pull his money out.
Yeah.
And that was a wad of money.
And he
for
took
them.
the doctor number that he could have called to get an abortion.
She said, like, we're not doing that. You love her, right? We love Brenda.
Right.
Just like if this was Babydoll. No.
So I was like, he really was a down dude.
But see, that's where I think, not that y'all are saying this, but that's why I think people get it wrong. People have to learn how to separate the addiction from the person, because the person, they are charismatic. They have a good heart. They have
some
of a lot of them.
But I don't want people hearing us talking about and then somebody be like, I love him.
Right. But you still have to learn how to separate the addict from the person, the addiction from the person, because if not, you'll continue to treat them like they're active in addiction, which is already something that they beat themselves up about anyway. So when you have that type of person showing you that type of love, showing you that type of support and things like that, it makes them feel good when you receive it.
Yeah.
And you allow them to do it.
Absolutely. So then a year passed. But again, we appreciate a good date jump with the information that time has actually passed, with some numbers. And this is when they finally started to get their recognition. People starting to like really appreciate them. The crowd is a little bit bigger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Better costumes.
The stage is a little bit better.
The choreography is better.
All of
Sarge tap dancing on them.
Okay.
This is what happens when you are dedicated to your craft and you start to, that work starts to be reflected in the accolades and the recognition that you get. However, you can see the sibling rivalry.
I'm like, why did Duck think that this was a good time to confront his brother
But
on
you
stage?
gotta think, for Duck to be that upset and mess his music up,
Something had really
he
been
done.
going on.
Yeah, that's true.
He like, I'm about to fight you like
Now.
a little
But I'm
brother, like a little brother though.
But I'm like, dude, like, sir, we on stage.
Getting ready
I need
to
you to
sing.
perform.
And you
And
just
we,
ripped this man's jacket.
Choirboy was like,
what is going on?
he went right back to being Choirboy.
He did. Because you don't forget your roots.
No.
You can take the boy out of the church, but you can't take the church out of the boy. And then I don't know if this was real or if they really were about to trip Eddie when they was rolling.
It was a blooper.
Because he could not get over them.
It was a real blooper. They said that in the
It was?
Yeah, they was
'Cause
like,
I was like, he
I
could
couldn't
not
my
get
feet
over
together.
I was like, that is so real. I was like, he could not get over there to save his life.
Yes.
I loved it. But I also liked how Jimmy did not run out there, chastise them.
Yes.
Good manager.
Yeah.
You gotta learn from your mistakes.
Yeah. He said, oh, no. We gonna use this energy. We gonna channel it and make it right.
And he told Sarge, it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be
Because
all
he's
right.
about to whoop him with that.
Hold my cane. Because he was ready.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when they go back out there for the second time to do this thing again,
They made it a part of their
they made it the shiny suits.
Coming into the disco. Lord.
Oh, yeah.
Them jumpsuits.
And
Stop
it's
it.
like the side wish.
The raindrops would fall.
Smiling.
Let it rain on me, yeah.
New rendition and everything.
So it looked really good. So then I think it's another fast forward here and another year passed and the real fruits of their labor are starting to be reaped. Because this is when they starting to get the cars and the and like,
montage.
yeah, all of this
And
is
they brought
starting to
their
happen.
parents Duck and JT brought their parents a house.
They needed it.
What I wrote in my notes here is I said, insert David Ruffin effect. Because now this is when he was already dibbling and dabbling in the drug, but this is
Monroe. Because if you look in that clip, Monroe right next to him.
Mm-hmm.
And so
when I saw Eddie with that shirt unbuttoned with the wife beater on, I was like, we going downhill now.
Mm-hmm. I was like, because he's the lead singer.
Yeah.
So this is, where, ain't nobody come see you, Otis. This is where that mindset is coming in, and whatever little whispers that are happening in the back.
And people telling you about your crew of people when you know in your heart that that's not what it is, but you can't think clearly. You're in there doing lines.
Yep. And this is when Babydoll, what we were just talking about a moment ago, she finally is like, okay, yeah, I think I'm done for now.
Yeah.
But I did like that she confronted him, and she did it gentle. She did it soft. She did it sweet, but she was like, I'm done.
And she did it when she was ready.
Yeah.
Because she said, when you get back, like it ain't, I'm already gone. So
I packed up.
It ain't nothing for you to be arguing with me about, because I'm already done.
Yeah.
In that montage, though, it also shows a lot of what Red was doing as far as swooping in, shifting things around, becoming their savior, and all of these other things, so that they can't really see what he's doing. It's like a master magician, going on.
And it also put them in the position to be obligated to him.
Yes. And the other thing that I wrote here is this is when you can really start to see the overreaching effects of drug usage. Because now he's missing shows, all that kind of showing up late.
Showing up high.
So you start to see how it really permeates your life, and you've lost the ability to it's contained within its bubble.
And then my thing is, you so out of it, you see that Flash is about to take your spot, and you don't have the wherewithal to even draw yourself back.
But the reality is Flash wouldn't have ever took his spot.
I know.
If he didn't take himself out.
Right.
And that's that mind game, and that trick.
That's what I was going to say. He didn't take his spot. He gave it to him.
Because really, I think what really probably would have happened if Eddie would have kept doing what he needed to be doing is that he just would have become another person that Jimmy managed, or he would have been added to the group like Johnny Gill. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he would have actually ever took his spot, because he didn't offer what Eddie came.
No.
Well, and I don't even know if it wasn't a spot to be taken, he wouldn't have needed to be in the way.
Right. That is so true.
Because y'all was all on the same tour. It was Bird and them non-Falcons and a Flash and the Ebony Sparks.
Yeah, and
they was all
Flash
together.
was on a trajectory of trying to go solo. He would have, like you said, Jimmy could have just managed him.
Exactly.
Yeah, so much could have been done differently. So then we have a little cut to the gala. No.
No.
No,
we forgot. No, it is technically, but it starts his spiral, of course. But what we end up seeing at the gala is the Choirboy is
he got
full
some
on
game now.
JT now.
Yeah,
the line.
He got some game now.
Said his real name is Anthony Stone.
But they call me Rock.
Don't nobody call you that.
That's what I put in my notes. I was like, well, who calls you that? And
I
when
was
did they
like,
start?
Choirboy.
And I was like, how did she not know they didn't call him Choirboy? Because I would have assumed that when they had their name on the records and stuff, that they would have said Choirboy.
Come on, I'm the lead singer since when, sir?
Well, since he
sung
asked,
once. One time.
He said, I know all his parts.
I know his.
And
he
you're
got
supposed
some
to.
game. He had some swag on it.
But he's supposed to know all the parts. Sir,
He-
you
you
are
gotta
the
know
choir
all-
director.
Well, all of y'all need to know everybody's part just in case.
Yes.
I was so thrown. I was like,
But he did have a little game on him, because she was like,
and he was looking good at that point.
He did.
he was looking better. Yes, he was. And I was like, ma'am, how did you not recognize him? I just didn't understand the whole
He's
scene.
Choirboy. He's not JT. He's not.
But his little
Eddie Kane.
poster thing.
She was prey. They
She
pick
was.
certain women to go after.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, there was lots of certain women in this film as well. But yes, he did have a little bit of game.
Yeah,
I give it to him. And then this is when here come Tanya. I said, "Ooh, she all about the money." If it ain't about the money, because she tapped on, because now you recognize him.
All about the Benjamins, baby.
She recognized, she tapped, because you recognize him from behind.
Right.
And you tap, tap, tap. Hey.
Should have recognized his brother in that room.
Oh.
Because I was like, girl, you wasn't really interested in him. But you was like, ooh, the same way, just as narcissistic as JT was, so were you, because you saw him as prey. And he's the easier target for me to secure the place on the trajectory that he's on.
Yeah.
And the lifestyle that I already live.
Right.
Y'all know me. I would have chose JT. I'm not JT. I would have chose Duck.
No, that was a Freudian slip. You would have.
No, I wouldn't have. Because it's something creepy about JT that my spirit would not like. I would prefer the nerd.
I probably would have chose JT.
I'd have been all up on JT.
Now, what would have
probably happened in my head? My old me.
The old me would have chose JT. I would have never looked at Duck. The new me
wouldn't have even crossed my mind.
I would have still looked at Duck. Or I would have been with Eddie.
So I ain't gonna lie. The whole time I was watching this film, I was like, dang, I really was baby dolling it out here in these streets.
Yes.
I was like,
It's either or.
Dang. So if we gonna be real, that's exactly who I would have been.
But it would have been healthy up until
the end.
When she left him, that phase of it.
See, I don't know if I would have Eddie would have been my homeboy, but I would have chose JT because JT was my type of bad boy. Eddie was a bad boy, but not my type of bad boy.
So if I'm being real honest with myself, I would have chose back when I was younger, because clearly not today.
Yes, same.
For the age we might believe they are, I would have chose Eddie, but in my eyes and my mind, I would have wanted JT.
I think I would have been like, that looked like a lot of energy that I don't want to deal with JT, because being the cute girl on campus and the dancer or the captain and stuff like that, you have access to those type of people. But I'm looking like, nah, I'm good. And then Choirboy just would have been too awkward for me. We both awkward. Somebody.
Yeah. Choirboy and Dresser would have been my homeboy too.
Dresser been with Brenda the whole time, so we wouldn't have had no choice.
Yeah, Dresser and Brenda would have been just two people we hang out with. Yeah,
it'd have been that dap you. Hey, bro.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind. I had a Dresser.
His voice
tall, and y'all know I like to climb people.
Yeah. I think Duck would have been my homeboy. I think he would have been the homeboy that over time, spending time with him would have been like, oh, hold on, I actually kind of like this dude. I think that's what would have happened. Not that the initial attraction would have been there.
But see, that would have been years. That would have been years of me maturing.
Yes. The mature version of me, for sure, would pick Duck. I hope that's not heard in the background. So the mature version of me would have done that, but the young version, I'm not going to even say and pretend and act like, because I'd have been all up in that unhealthy, toxic.
But you wouldn't even know it was.
Yeah,
at the time, no, not while you're living it. You don't know. All of this is now looking at it with these eyes,
mature eyes.
Yeah, back onto my young 20s, early teen. 20-something eyeballs, because I'm assuming that's what they're trying to assume they were, is late teen, early 20s, for them to be not looking as old as we probably think they would be looking by the 90s.
Yeah.
But we said all that to say Tanya was scheming. And then we also get one of the most famous scenes out of this whole movie that's coming up right now. Where Bird, I almost said Flash. I was like, nope, that's the wrong person.
Wait. It ain't time yet.
Oh, it's not?
It ain't time yet.
Oh, okay.
We missed some stuff.
What?
Because they had the intervention first.
Oh, yeah, they go to Eddie's house.
because
JT,
he didn't show
Duck,
up.
and Dresser. I don't know where Choirboy was.
He was probably in the bed
with
the girl.
with
yeah.
the girl.
because this was literally the night he missed
Uh-huh.
the performance, and he was like, "I was trying to prove a point. You don't prove a point
By
to
missing.
You did that to us, dude. Come on now." I was like, "Sir, you gone. You so far gone." And he in the bed with 2 women, and he ain't had no conversation with his boys because they asking where's Babydoll, and then he look all guilty, even though clearly they broke up. But he ain't shared none of that information.
And then Duck went for the jugular.
He did.
He was like,
You
"You gonna
worse
be."
your daddy.
Oh,
I was like,
That is-
"Dang, Duck."
for
But it
people
was
that have
real.
them type of attachment issues, that is like one of the worst things that you can do. I was speaking with somebody a few days ago, and that was something that I mentioned to this person, and that was something that they said to me was like, please do not do that. I do not like being compared to them, even though their behavior is very similar. That was the thing that they said. They didn't like being compared to that person. So you can see like that rage that comes inside, because that's the one thing I'm always in my mind. Whether my behavior matches it or not, my mind tells me I'm working to not be like that. But then what you doing is
Proving the point.
Yeah, which is worse.
yeah. So then we get the scene.
Yes.
One of the most famous scenes out of this whole film. And if you have ever watched this movie multiple times, as I imagine a lot of us black people have, if you can't quote when the office hours are, and all I should be able to say is my office hours are
9 to 5.
and you should be able to quote it in both of those tones.
This was hard though, y'all. This was hard to watch.
It was.
Big Red slapped him so hard he flew into the room.
But I said bird. Ooh, I almost said something. Let me get my words together before I say it, because I was getting ready to say, you asked for it. But no, you didn't ask to be hit. However,
No. He was coming with normal rah-rah, not
right.
beat the crap out of
But
you.
you
rah-rah.
did not use your critical thinking skills after you had just been told, I'm busy, come back later.
And he did say, "Give me a moment. Let me finish my conversation."
You then proceeded to say, no, mother, I need to talk to you right now.
And I think that's only because all of them came in together, so nobody is seeing who Big Red actually is. They just know they not getting monies correctly.
Which I understand him being upset about his coins.
But you
Totally
got to,
understand.
But you ain't there with the Midnight Falcon.
And you, right.
And you
You
didn't
by
read
yourself.
You got to read the room, bro.
Bro, you got all these big security guard looking dudes, bodyguard looking dudes.
Because they obviously are his henchmen. These are not legit employees.
Right.
And he said, my office hours are from 9 to 5, and it's dark out, sir. So unless this is daylight savings time, it's clearly after 5 p.m.
But see, the thing is, he was going to talk to you. He said, give me a minute.
He did.
But he read to somebody that when you talk, you need to have your lawyer, because you're probably going to die.
When you talk, you need to have your crew and your lawyer.
Be
But
prepared.
your big crew, not your
Your singing group. Yes.
Be prepared.
Yes.
And you were not, sir. And then proceeded to get mollywopped and hung out the window.
Ooh.
That pants.
All
slip,
of y'all was sweating.
That pants rip right there.
Because that's real.
That was real.
That's
real.
That conch on his head, as my mama would say, was gone.
Both of theirs.
Yes.
Now Bird had a little wave still. He's like, I got thick hair. But Red, he
beat his finger waves out.
and he was enjoying it.
Yes.
It was fun to him.
Yeah.
To beat your artist that you know gonna have to go on stage.
Mm-hmm.
Because y'all still touring for 500 years. So you still gonna have to go on stage. But you done beat him. You done hung this man outside of a window.
Mm-hmm.
Make
To
it
intimidate
make sense.
him.
Make it make sense.
That's bullying at its finest.
It is. And what would now give me any incentive to really put my best effort forward, because now I'm going to be working just to be working to keep you off my back. But now I'm not interested in going full out, all out at this point.
At this point, I'm trying to get out of my I'm trying to get out of my contract. Like I'm going to start doing stuff for you to tear my contract up.
But ain't going to be no way, because they ain't the same problem as the 5 heartbeats.
True.
All them gifts that aren't gifts.
Man, that was so sad.
It was. That really broke my heart. At first, when I was a kid, I'd be like, that's what you get, Bird. But then when you look at it, like, Bird he didn't stay a rival to them after that night. He went up and congratulated them, said that they did a good job and things like that. So, you know, my kid brain was not okay, but my adult brain is like, why would you do him like that?
It's so funny watching this film as a year old, you know. It was so different. Like, I almost want to go back and watch it again, because like watching it, you know, when I did, it really was like watching a different film. It was very nostalgic because of the songs and stuff. But the parts where they're not singing, like listening to what they're saying, watching what they're doing. I mean, it was almost like I saw this for the first time.
Yeah, it had a lot of meat and potatoes.
Yeah, it just a different reaction that I have as an adult to it. Like you said, like as a child, I would have been like, hey, you deserve that A whooping.
That's why at first I was like, ooh, I almost said you asked for it, but I was like, wait, that is not what actually happened.
Right.
Now, you didn't listen.
No, he got that Suge Knight beat down.
Yeah, you didn't listen, but you didn't ask for it.
Right. And that's when you realize how big Red actually is. Because when you watch him in films, you always be like, he's a smaller man until he get the wild hair look. When he the wild hair, Hawthorne James, he the big man. But you don't really see that in this movie. You don't get that wide angle view of him until in that moment. And I was like, ooh, he's scary.
Yeah. And he kind of has like a wild, like
Mufasa look.
His what is it called? His eye bones. I can't be
orbital.
Thank you. Orbital. I couldn't be smart in that moment. My brain said they're big.
Yeah.
They're almost like lion. Like he has.
That's why I was like, when you see his hair out like that, he's like Mufasa.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Eyebrow bones, man.
Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah. I felt bad for Bird.
Yeah,
I was like, oh
I
man,
did too.
He was really afraid too.
And he was trying to hold on to everything that
he said. Let me up.
But they was stomping his hands and punched him in his ribs and
ooh.
stuff.
Go on, get him again, sir.
Why you gotta dangle him across the balcony?
Tell me you're a psychopath
without telling me you're a psychopath.
Yes, because the beat down before the dangle out the window, I think would have been enough.
He said, "Open the window."
I think that was enough.
Yeah,
he was already
cleared the room. I said, "This is a true, like these people know you, like this is your inner circle of people, and y'all are all crazy."
Yeah.
Because then nobody tried to like, nah, man, you ain't got to dangle him out the window. We beat him up. All right, let's go.
Nope. Everybody knew. They knew the assignment and played their roles.
Everybody showed up.
Sorry to that man.
Horribly. One thing I do want to say, there was a lot of like low key behind the scenes colorism in this movie. We ain't got to go too deep in it because it didn't really affect the characters, but like the positions of power and different things like that. It was a lot of colorism.
Lord Jesus. I even wrote in my notes, I said, was every like love interest a light-skinned woman until they finally were ready to settle down?
Except for Dresser. But
Theresa Randall is kind of brown.
She's chocolate. This is, if y'all need to know reference for Theresa Randall, she is the mother in or the wife in Bad Boys to
she's
Martin Lawrence.
Yeah, she's Martin Lawrence, right. But I thought that as well. I was like, it's a lot of light, and not just light skin, like light, like
my Aunt Tammy,
white passing light skin women in this film. Because you have light skin but with black features, and then you have light skin with very king features. And I thought that too. I was like, it's a lot of light-skinned women in this film. And it was almost as if they were the trophy. And then when I'm ready to settle down and I done played the field and I'm tired, okay, I'm ready to be done now. Then they went to their darker skinned counterpart, with the exception of maybe.
Because there's only two people that had consistent women, and that's Dresser and Eddie. And Babydoll is very fair. She looked like she could technically be Latina, but I don't know if she is. We didn't look into that. Yeah. But and then Brenda is chocolate, but she's not super dark complected. But Rose, who is in the beginning and the end, is that deep, rich chocolate.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting. But yes, I also agree. I don't think that it necessarily added or withdrew from the actual events in the movie. Yeah. But it was just a very interesting visual to notice.
Yeah, because Red is fair, but all his henchmen are dark.
Yeah, some of that subliminal.
So the only one I would say that we really it affects is actually Tanya, because she is the wealthy debutante that is light skinned.
They're very stereotypical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. But we soon start to learn that, speaking of like love interest and all that JT is having some sort of existential crisis, I guess.
He trying to evolve.
Because at this point, I'm assuming they're reaching middle age. At this point, I'm assuming they may be in their 30s now. At this point, where he's now talking about like he tired of playing the field, but he don't know how to control himself.
I was like, boo-hoo.
The funny part was...
Oh, sorry, guys. Had too much blueberry.
The funny part is that Doug was talking about, well, maybe you can go to the D center or whatever he said, because, you know, you got Alcoholic Anonymous or, you know, all of that. He said, well, maybe you can go to the D center.
The DA.
Yeah. Get your peen together.
But I was like, I kind of felt bad, because I was like, JT, even in all his narcissism, he was trying to
get it together.
He was trying in his way to be insightful in his way. He wasn't really going deep with it, but the question was there.
Yeah, he knew something was not right.
Yeah, he knew something was not right, but so that's why I say the question was there. Now, he did not really introspect real deep behind that question or beyond that, but he knew, like, I don't know if I like this no more. And that was about as far as it went.
But that also makes me think, as far as in the future, if this was the moment where he started wanting to really like Tanya. Because this is when they start dating, Duck and her.
Or it could have been the epiphany that he needed to settle down, because now Duck is settling down. You know, that he got that competition thing.
But it was before. On. He said that before he knew that Tanya and him was about to go somewhere. Because this was at the gala still. Yeah,
but he knew that they were at least dating seriously, because she was at the concert.
No, this is before that. This is where she walks up to him and taps him on the shoulder still.
Oh, I thought this was after they had already been dating at this point.
No, because what ends up happening is they're down in the bottom, and it's like, hey, I'm gonna go. They talking, Tanya and him talking, and he's like, hey, let me go let JT know that I'm about to go, and he walks past a bird and Red, and you see him in the background heading off. He said, you leaving? No, I'm just going up to talk to JT, blah blah blah. And then because at that point nothing has happened yet.
Oh, so you're saying JT and Tanya may have had their thing going on and he was thinking about her?
No, I'm saying this is the turning point. At this point, he's already thinking about, okay, I'm getting older, this is something that I need to be working on. But it wasn't until after this point where Duck and Tanya started dating that he's like, I'm not okay with this. You done took one of mine.
Oh,
because
okay.
in their later conversation, they talk about, okay, you started dating him, it was fine, cool. So that's why I'm like,
Gotcha.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that when you lay it out that way.
Yeah.
But the hard part in all of this is, again, the introspection and the insight level is low.
it's low.
Because you still hurt your brother, you know, to get your own needs met.
But they did pinky swear.
Oh, to name their children, their firstborn. Whoever has the first kid, name them after the other.
Yeah.
Which is cute.
It is.
At the
Because Little
end.
Duck was so cute. He looked like him, actually.
But we know. But they related, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So then a little bit later, we do another little left turn. And we're now at Red's house.
Yeah.
And he tries to strong arm Jimmy.
Yeah, then called an emergency meeting.
Yeah, about letting them, well, basically weaseling him or strong arming him out of the contract or whatever deal they had.
Gonna buy him.
And just Eddie just sitting there, just looking
high
and guilty.
You know what you
Guilty
did.
high. And then Red proceeds to threaten on the low Eleanor. And Jimmy, hey, this between us. Don't be talking about my wife now.
He's like, he's gonna sue
Mm-hmm.
him. Because
he tried to do it the right way.
We find out that now Jimmy actually knows a lot about his inner workings. I'm not somebody you're gonna be able to dangle out the window. I know about the 2 sets of books you got.
Yeah.
Like he knew stuff.
He knew a lot. Yeah, he knew a lot.
And evidently so did Eleanor, thank God.
Absolutely. And it seems like Eddie did too.
Later.
I don't think he knew that. What I think he didn't know is that Red would set up what he set up, but I do think that he knew more about the workings because Monroe would know.
I think he knew that Monroe was bad. I don't think at this point he knew in depth what was going on
with Red
because he's still trying to hook him in, and they had just signed an individual contract with Eddie. So I think that's what it was.
Which was so stupid on Big Red part. You see this man going downhill.
That's the point.
He ain't getting ready to be doing nothing.
Control.
Signed for nothing.
Right. I can get over on you, so I can give you any kind of stupid deal.
Because he thought it was going to be easy.
Yeah.
He thought he was going to be able to do the 5 Heartbeats the way he's done all his other artists, not realizing you talking to a bunch of impoverished kids
who really were tight.
And Mama Eleanor wasn't having none of that.
Right. And had Eddie been in his right mind, he wouldn't have got him either.
No.
Because they were all close.
And this kind of goes back again to what we were saying. Like, if you would have just done things the right way, none of this would have needed to have been handled the way that it ended up being, because you wouldn't have needed to try to swindle them. Like, y'all was making money. So, like, it didn't greed.
Nobody.
It was just greed.
Red or Eddie.
Just greed.
Show up where you supposed to be. You ain't nobody gonna take your spot.
Eddie, go get some therapy so that you can work out your daddy issues, so you ain't got to do your boys like that.
Yeah. And then, of course, Jimmy goes home and Eleanor can feel it. She knew something wasn't right.
The phone call, they done started
harassing him.
This the old phone where you got to put your finger in and turn it.
Yeah. When's the last time you seen a rotary phone?
But that scene broke my heart too, though, because I was like, oh, she knew something wasn't right. And the way they kissed each other, I was like,
and she couldn't make it down the stairs quick enough.
The way that woman ran out that high rise, I said,
okay,
we phenomenal as black women. We better be out here.
And she was all dolled up.
She was.
Because she's Diahann, Carroll.
Yes. And yes, of course, now we know that, Jimmy is hit by a truck.
Because who is out picking up trash?
Yeah, at whatever time of night
late,
it was.
because he going to a jazz club. He had his little saxophone in the case. Trash is not running in New York at them hours.
No,
maybe the street sweeper, but not no.
Yeah, you could clearly see that was the garbage truck.
So then Jimmy dies
horribly,
and then of course, who got the nerve to show up to the funeral in a gray suit?
First of all, I was thinking, why did Eddie or Big Red show up?
But he didn't know yet.
No, but Eddie knew that.
Eddie knew something was up, but he didn't know yet because you can tell he's like piecing stuff together. It's not until
a couple scenes later. Yeah. But I was like, you had the nerve. One, you had the nerve to show up. Let's start there.
With a rose.
In a light gray suit, and walk down the aisle
late. This is not
and
time
walk
for you to view the body.
Straight up to his casket. When you see everybody sitting down.
And then you had the audacity
to approach
the widow and say, if you need someone,
you don't need to be alone.
You don't need to be alone if you need someone. And she slapped his finger waves out his head.
Girl,
slapped him.
I was like, I feel like that slap was real.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was.
First of all, that tilt of them glasses, like, WTF.
She like, did. Is he talking to me?
Because she put them glasses on that nose like a librarian and held them with her fingers.
And looked that man up and down and knocked.
And when he tried to touch her, she was like, she jerked back like, I know you didn't. That's why I feel like the slap was real. And I feel like Red didn't, that the actor didn't know that she was going to do that. You remember like in Django when he had broke that glass and wiped that blood on them and they didn't know and they just went with it. I feel like that's what this scene was. I feel she improvised that and really slapped him because the way he
looked. And the way them finger waves came out.
And that was a huge, he fell off his pedestal.
Oh, yeah.
Because the entire industry is there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they trying to figure out, why is she so upset? Or what did he do? Or what? He had to go on, tuck that little tail and walk on out.
Mm-hmm.
I said, dry them fake tears up, sir. Because you did this. You put the hit out.
Oh, malignant narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. But I was like, I was so proud of her. Yes. I was like, slap him, girl.
She gathered him
all the way up.
Because then he gonna try to walk out like he didn't just get slapped in front of everybody.
We see the handprint. Your light skin.
We see your hair. Your hair is not the same.
Because
he the most sweatingest Joker.
He is. And I was like, that's so sad. So then after that, after the funeral, the group is kind of back in the tunnel. Back in the tunnel. And then Dresser, he was like, And
that ain't like Dresser.
He can't.
He is a peacemaker.
Yeah.
He's calm.
Mm-hmm.
And they was like, Dresser, what's wrong?
This was the worst fight ever, though.
I think if they would have just let them fight, it would have been fine. But anytime you get Duck or Choirboy involved in the problem.
Yeah, but them kicks, the noise was worse than the kick was.
I was like, oh, baby.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Jesus, what's happening here?
But then he did let him hug him at the end.
Because he knew. They know this man's heart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I honestly don't think he meant any wrong in that way to him.
Oh, yeah.
But you could tell that he was just, that guilt was on him. Like that.
You're talking about Eddie, right?
Eddie.
Yeah.
Because he still had that guilt years later.
Yeah, that guilt, that's I wrote in my notes. That's the one thing that people don't understand. You don't have to beat up on an addict. They beat themselves up worse than you would ever be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
That guilt of whatever they have done, even if whatever they did was done while they were active in their addiction, that guilt eats them alive.
Yeah, but there was no coming back for the group. After that, it's like you took, you played a part in taking somebody that was so integral to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it becomes like the first crack in the foundation.
Yeah,
you know, so now things don't settle right and they start shifting.
Yeah,
and because of that shift, you know, other things start to break from there.
Yeah, them two scenes just hard, and then Sarge was crying. Oh
yeah, it was
because it's the thing of we done went through war and then we come back here and you die.
Mm-hmm. Wow. You die from something like this.
Something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so sad.
Yeah.
So then Babydoll comes and,
take care of him.
Take care of him again.
He got to get it together now because he done
fell off the wagon.
messed Jimmy up.
So she comes back and, assists in taking care of him for now. I'm assuming she left again at some point, but they don't really show that between now and when you see her again.
Yeah.
Then
because Doug, when she answered the phone, Doug said, "Thank you for coming back to take care of him."
Mm-hmm. Then we flash forward.
Hold on. This is also the part where the fellas come in and they talk to Eddie. We need to know everything that went down in that last meeting because we have found out that Big Red has been messing over everybody. And then that's when Bird comes in and puts his hands on his hips like, I'm ready to talk.
And this is also the same scene that you can see shame all over Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we learned that Red ends up going to prison.
Yeah.
For being involved
indicted.
In his slaying.
He was charged with the murder.
Yeah, he was.
I said, you better get him. But I mean,
he
black though. So.
Mm-hmm. So then we jump forward a few years, 1972 to be exact. Thank you, Robert, for that. And Flash becomes the lead singer, and baby JT just can't handle it.
I don't think it was a good choice either because Flash is too close to JT style of singing and voice. Like he's not adding anything extra other than the fact
demeanor.
That kind of woman, you know, suave, debonair thing. Yeah. But he couldn't handle it. He could not handle it.
He could not stand somebody else getting the spotlight. Somebody else being just as sexy or sexier than him.
And Doug called him out on it too.
And the thing about it is, it's interesting because JT is dark skinned. Flash was a lighter skin. And light skinned men could have been in at that time.
Probably. And the older that tends to go in and out. I agree with that.
It's one of my favorite scenes of JT's though. Justin. I said, you better be.
That was one of my favorite songs.
I love that Duck called him out.
Yes.
And was like, oh, you just jealous, basically.
As he's pulling a sock out of his underwear.
I was like, how did I miss that when I was younger?
No, I saw that one.
I did too.
It's like, what? I know I saw it, but I don't think I understood what that meant when I was younger. But now seeing it again, it's like, okay, you really are a cornball. My God. But I love the comedic, like not over the top comedic relief, but it was just like in the background. And then, I like that they showed the progression of their sound over the years.
Yeah.
Because it showed really how music changes over time and the type of style that they would have had in the 60s. They cannot transition that into the 70s.
Gotta evolve.
That they had to evolve. And then here comes another classic scene where JT and Flash are battling for this lady
that's married.
That made that man leave his wife.
Okay, because he promptly took his arm off of her.
And he left
and was giving her the straight up down the whole time.
Here, take my card. Who's giving cards out?
Why you on stage with your card?
Just give me your beeper number. Girl, they didn't have that. Beat me 911.
JT gave her the whole jacket.
As he should, because he's Leon.
Yes.
I wonder how it smelled.
But that battle,
like Versace eras.
I love it. But Flash couldn't keep up though.
No.
Yeah, he
because
couldn't
it's
keep
Flash.
Up. Yeah, and he knew it too. He was like, "Jive turkey," you know. That's kind of the look he gave. Yeah. At the very end, especially when he did that real high pitch, like, you know, I'm not gonna do it, but you know,
they was getting it.
Yeah,
that was a good battle.
It really was.
They were evenly matched technically, but JT was like, I got more to lose.
So I'm going all out.
I'm gonna hit my falsetto.
Did you see him get up there and do his little
swivel? I have never seen that before.
Oh, really? I had seen that.
I had never seen that before.
I said, you better roll your hips. That was Leon. That wasn't JT. That was Leon.
Yeah, I saw that.
I see you, because that's not a 70s move, sir.
It's not.
Yeah, I
They
had never
definitely
seen that
sprinkled
before, but
that
I
90s
saw
in
it last night. They would, because I watched it twice. I saw it again, and I was like, "What? Wait, what's that? What's that grind?"
Hip swivel.
Yes.
Okay. Then they go outside. And, oh man,
This part here.
This the
broke
hard
my
part.
heart. Yes.
I don't think I ever noticed until this time watching it that cop was trying to pry Eddie's hands off that fence as he was trying to climb and get their attention.
Yeah.
I said, how did I miss this the whole time? I just knew that he was screaming to them, but I was like, that cop was really like trying to like get him off of there.
And see, my thing is, I'm like, cop, you know who this is.
Mm-hmm.
He just left.
Right.
And he got on their last performance outfit.
It ain't like it's been 15, 20
it's like
years.
it's the shiny.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know who this is. Why you treating this man like that? Oh, that hurt my heart this time.
It did. Then they let him
so
through.
bad though too.
I was like, oh, he's hitting rock bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a kid, I thought this scene was funny.
Yeah.
As an adult, I find it very sad and disheartening.
Mm-hmm.
But I appreciated that they tried to do right by him.
Yeah, because they loved him.
Dresser was over it.
His heart was.
He wasn't healed.
He's
yet.
like, you got this man. Because I'm gonna assume that Dresser don't got no family, and that was his family and stuff. But he was like, nah, I'm gonna get in the car with Brenda.
Mm-hmm.
But I did appreciate JT and Choirboy,
and Duck.
You
they
know,
all stood there and listened to him.
Yeah, and tried to give him something so that he can whatever he was going to do with it. Yeah. And then Choirboy, like, reach out to me if you just call me. So I did appreciate that they, even though they didn't go overboard, that they didn't abandon him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there wasn't nothing he could do. He wasn't ready.
Right.
They gave, I could appreciate the fact that they didn't treat him like they didn't know him.
Yeah.
Like he was a callous to them now.
Mm-hmm. This put me in the mind somewhat of the session where we talked about your tribe, and that they really built a tribe. Mm-hmm. Now again, the foundation had gotten cracked and shook. Yeah. But ultimately, like, they had a unit, and that they did not want to see their brother fall like that.
And the one thing that Eddie stated was that he wanted them to get back together again. And I was like, they're still together, Eddie. Mm-hmm. Like, you're gone.
Left. Yeah. And you're not ready to come back, because it would really just be the same situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the thing about it is, you've already shown and proven to yourself at the level mentally and emotionally that you are now, you can't handle what they have.
Yeah. Because I think even in this scene, he talks about, he's probably more than likely homeless. Do it look like I got a phone?
Yeah.
And certain things like that. And there's in a scene coming up with Doug, he's listening to the radio, and it talks about how he done got shot
several times
trying to do a robbery.
Yeah.
And then he still asked Flash, how does it feel to be me?
I mean, it's an accurate question.
It is, but I'm like, dude, he didn't have to be you.
No.
You could have been,
because you're in competition with this man, because you can't get out of competition with yourself.
And you gave him your position.
Yeah. Oh, so much. Then we start, now slowly comes the downfall of the group. Because now we start learning that as Sarge is older in the hospital and they doing his birthday stuff.
Skip the engagement announcement, because that's where Anne-Marie person is, where they listening to the music, and
it's a hit.
She come in carrying Duck on her back, was even more telling of their relationship.
I did not even think about that.
I did. I was like, that's backward, but okay.
Ooh. Yeah. When you think about it, what position she put herself in to secure the bag. Ooh wee.
Oh, gold digger for real.
Man, there's lots of layers in it, just that.
She ain't messing with no broke.
The whole movie.
So true.
But JT.
Yes, but then they learned it. So then they're at the hospital with Sarge for his birthday. They go down to get the gifts.
Hold on. When they was in the studio and JT and they announced their engagement,
JT went
and
off.
and then he asked JT to be the best man. I was like, why would you ask him to be the best man? And he had such a strong reaction to that.
Yeah, you didn't question it then.
You didn't read the room, sir. Right.
He's very gullible.
Of course, my brother couldn't do that to me.
Right.
Maybe somebody else, but not me.
But you didn't pay attention to that strong reaction, sir?
No.
That's unhealthy.
But again, I agree with gullible because he could be thinking that, my brother is like, oh, well, I don't want you to get hurt, bro. All that kind of
Or I'm about to lose you, something like that.
Or it's not time to get married.
That, for the group, man.
You don't know her. We've been knowing her since we was little. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm. But later on, Duck sees Tanya and Choirboy outside having a conversation where, again, if you looking out a window, a couple of floors up and you have no idea and can't hear what these individuals are saying, the way the scene plays out, you could misconstrue it to seem like they had something going on because she seemed like she might have been crying.
Yeah, because probably Choirboy confronted her when they went to go get the presents for Sarge's birthday or whatever.
Because it looked like they were intensely talking.
Mm-hmm. And the hug and the way she hugged them, because she hugged him with the underhug, not like the around the side hug
or even the church hug
or the church hug. She hugged him under his arms. So that's a different type of hug,
Yeah.
So then this start get Duck. His wheels is rolling now. He like, wait, that didn't look right. I don't like the way that didn't feel good. So then they in the studio and he, dagger eyes on Choirboy. And poor Choirboy, he don't even know what's going on. He just in there just doing his little bebop and dressed like, man, what's wrong with you?
You look like you're about to kill somebody.
And I am. And then he says he thinks this is, his girl having an affair with Choirboy. And Tress was like,
are you sure?
Choirboy?
Like, really? But then it's like, oh, no, you serious? Oh.
But he is the voice of reason. He's like, do you have any proof? Nah, but I'm going to get some.
Oh, man, here it comes. So now he's stalking. And this made me think of acrimony. And if you are hurt by somebody that you love, it can make you think, and see all kinds of things
to prove your hypothesis.
Sitting outside somebody's house, waiting for them to come out.
You could have just hired somebody to do that.
Yeah. So
or you could have just had a conversation.
She wasn't gonna be truthful. He know what type of person he's about to marry.
And then he followed her to the hotel, and the bellman
gave it away.
Big
but
fan.
He didn't even seem surprised when he said that it was his brother and not Choir. He didn't say it was Choirboy.
I think he was shocked.
See, I was thinking almost more. I didn't think he was surprised. I think it was a combination of things. Relief that it wasn't Choirboy.
Yeah.
Shocked, like, she really is cheating on me, like, for real. And then, like, dang, it's my brother.
So it's a double.
Just the layers.
And the only reason why he knew is because, your brother just went up. It's like, you sign this too?
Well, thank you, Bellman or Dorman.
For telling me which one of the beats it was.
Okay. And then they up there in the room and she just crying.
For what? I don't know.
I know.
And he
like
going
y'all
off
ain't
on
even
her.
Together no more.
He going off on her. She talking about, I love you.
Evidently they are still together.
But I'm in love with Duck.
There's a difference. There is, ma'am, but why are you doing that to the brothers?
And why you ain't told Duck that you and your brother, you and his brother had a thing?
Have.
Okay.
Because my thing is, if you are in love with Duck, why are you even in this room now?
With his brother.
And JT asked, if you love him, then you got to tell him.
Well, my thing
and
is,
she said
bruh,
no.
My thing is, we know you love him because that's your brother. So why don't you tell him?
Because this is normal for him.
I got to maintain the image. How about we go tell him together?
Right.
She was bothering me with that frosty lipstick. I was just so bothered by her.
Yeah.
I was bothered by this whole scene because all of this is just unhealthy and nasty.
Yeah, it's just too much. It was too much. There was a lot of like a manipulation between the two of them. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like it, but what I got was it wasn't necessarily manipulation about the two of them. It was between them, but about Duck.
Yeah, because they was each other's matches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it was like tennis. I'm not gonna tell him.
And Duck was the ball.
Right. And he basically called her a skeezer.
Who, JT?
Basically. He was like, I know you. I've been with you. Like, you don't love him. I was like, ooh, you really just called her out like that.
She don't
on the
love
low.
Nobody but herself.
True.
Just like at that point, JT didn't either.
True. It was interesting.
They some trash individuals.
It was so bad. I'm like, y'all just hurting this man for no reason.
And my thing is, why did you even come up to him if you knew you had a thing with his brother? Mm-hmm. Like that right there is just disrespectful.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it was so much. Then they go to the celebration dinner. And this whole dinner, I was like, what is going on with this?
Right. But old school back in the day, that's how it used to be. They finally get their little gold record, but it's like real.
I was like, what is happening in this dinner? And everybody in there is just going to keep clapping like none of this just happened.
Right. Like ain't nobody having no side conversation. Like, what is going on?
No whispering, nothing.
Right.
I was like, no chatter.
They probably already knew, since it is the record company giving the award ceremony. They probably already knew.
Well, about Flash, but maybe not about the threesome.
Okay. I was like, because I wrote in my notes too. I said at the celebration dinner, Flash snake ass too.
I was like,
how you now? So,
it was
and then you done shouted out your own record.
Sir, you ain't even been in the group a whole year. What is wrong with you?
The disrespect.
Yes. So this may come as a surprise. But this will be my last day in the group. And I'm like, ugh.
You couldn't find a better and different way to tell them that? You had to announce it to everybody?
Why you didn't tell them first? My thing is this. You can have a solo career and a group career. You didn't have to leave.
You can have a solo career, but tell us first.
Let us, don't embarrass us in front of everybody.
You see how they kind of laughed at him, though? Because it looked like they kind of expect that type of thing from Flash.
Yeah.
That's why he ended up with them dang horsemen.
Okay. But apparently the kids was loving it, though.
Okay.
So then, of course, I was like, this is super awkward. So then JT...
Duck looked around like, dang, he just stole my thunder. You ready to do the same thing?
The only person that had a good speech was Dresser.
Yes.
To his wife and child.
Right.
That was it. Because then Duck get up there and he like, well, I guess this is my last day. I want to thank my brother and my girl for making me a better songwriter.
I do like that he gave his little analogy first. It was very poetic. Like he's always done. Someone told me that I would be a great writer once I went through some more pain, and I'm on my way.
But the narcissism on JT, though, the way he was smiling, thinking that he was getting ready to get some shine.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, here come
the dagger.
I'm about to rain on your parade. Because he was like, oh, wait, hold on. That's not
where I thought that was going.
That's not what was supposed to happen. You were supposed to praise me for making you a better songwriter.
Nope.
And then he just, thank you.
And then they clapped.
And now we're coming up on the end of the movie another great, brilliant scene is coming up though. So we see Duck reading the letter that was in the mail from the beginning of the movie, and we learn that it is a letter from Choirboy inviting him because he has returned home
to the church.
And has invested a lot of the money that he made from being with the Five Heartbeats into his father's church, which in my head becomes a mega church in about 10 or 15 years.
Shoot, it was already busting at the seams.
Because it was already big then.
Right.
So he invites him and says, hey, I got a surprise, so please be there. Then this is where it reminded me of The Color Purple.
The comeback.
Because I said this is about redemption. Mm-hmm. And if you even listen to the initial part of his sermon, yes, that's what he's talking about.
Yep. Healing men, confused hearts.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, man, again, the stuff you didn't peep as a child. Mm-hmm. I was like, it's so on point. And then, of course, as we already said, insert that voice.
And Babydoll.
Yeah. Who
the
knew
duet.
that she could, whoever, if that's really her singing or whoever sang for her.
That baby got that.
I'm usually not a soprano.
She was getting.
When I heard her, I was wondering how you was going because
it has some weight to it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't all up in the rafters.
It get to my ears. Mm-hmm. I'm usually not a soprano fan.
I was wondering how you was gonna take that.
Good.
But she hit. I was like, oh,
and hers is clear and crisp. Whoever that is,
and it fits so well. Mm-hmm. Like the juxtaposition between the two of them,
raspy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like they fit so well together. And she didn't try to overpower him.
She was still watching him. She's like, you got this, babe, and I'm just gonna accompany you on your journey. And that's how she had been the entire movie. And them lyrics, I feel like going home. I say, man, I got to get my house together.
That right there had me out.
Never cried in this movie.
That had me out right there.
Yeah, every goosebumps. As soon as that, like when he first came in, I was like, oh my God.
That right there, guy. I was like, oh my God, that's Eddie.
I was like, oh my God.
Yes, that's Eddie.
Oh my God. The redemption. I was like, oh,
it was
the
so
redemption.
Good.
Oh.
I was like, you better fight your way back.
And the way he, like his face when he's singing that part where he, like, when I feel like going home, and he goes, yes.
I feel like going home. Man, that
like
face,
his face.
like he really went through that.
And it reminded me of when he sang that song to his daddy. I was like, music is really your ministry. That is where that's your pocket.
Yeah, it's in his soul.
Yeah,
some people have a calling, and that is his. And now he has a testimony. It sucks
he's
that
been
you
sober 4 years.
Yeah, it took you all this time to get there, but it's a beautiful thing that he had 4 years of sobriety.
Yeah. And
that was one of the things that I wrote in my notes about. Now, I don't work with addiction, but I was like, that is a testament to working the steps. If you choose to go AA route of really working the steps and being intentional about doing it and having the support system behind you to help you continue to work the steps every day.
And that's a benefit for him because he always had the support. That's not always everybody's case. Yeah. And I do like that in the writing that Robert Townsend did, that he was specific about a 12-step program with Narcotics Anonymous. Like he threw that information out there, and it wasn't just like random. I just got better.
Yeah. And this is also a throw to one of our most recent sessions about making amends, because after they sing and they're talking in the sanctuary, he talks to Duck about hey, like, you need to go talk to your brother.
And that was a testament to who he really is, because he had been that way when he was sober throughout the whole movie.
Oh, absolutely. And I think seeing all of the three of them, seeing Babydoll still, she she loved him, helped him through this process,
and was still in the background, and just still right there.
She's like, this is where I need to be. That was the beauty of watching their relation. There was never a power struggle between them. It was some, I ain't to take this, but it was not a power struggle. And I was happy to see a healthy relationship with someone who's an addict, because we don't normally get to see that.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. It was about redemption, like for him, like you really, and having that adequate support, you really see how someone that struggles with addiction can really come out on the other side if they have that.
And how you can set boundaries and walk away from them when you need to, and you come back when they're healthy. And if you choose to stay with them at that point in time, you can. But like, you still have to have healthy boundaries. Just because you love them, just because they get sober, just because they go back out, it doesn't mean that you have to completely dismiss them, but you can get away and be in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that helped Duck, seeing Choirboy, seeing Babydoll, and seeing Eddie together. Like, and when he said that to him, it made it much easier for him then to go and say, you know what, it has been too long.
Yeah, because he was like, think about it. He's like, I know what it feels like to make mistakes. You know I do. And my mind automatically went back to him playing a part in the death of their manager or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, you really ain't got no excuse. I get why, but if we weighing stuff.
It's level stuff.
Yeah.
So then, of course, somehow he found JT. And this is the 90s, so it ain't like it was cell phones and GPS and...
He called their mama.
Okay.
Or one of the 8 other brothers and sisters.
I know, right?
And the 2 cousins.
That do make sense, because I was like, he just found him at the park. Like, he knew exactly where he was.
Sitting with Rose.
And she was like,
She's like, I'm not going to say nothing.
I'm going to keep reading.
and then, you know, he twirling with the kids.
Being a dad.
And then he see them. Star-crossed. Not lovers, brothers. Now, the one thing I did not like about this scene, I was like, sister, why are you saying duck so many times? I know it's for plot and for the movie, but
she seemed like a know-it-all kid. So I could...
Duck, would you get over here, Duck? Stop it, Duck. Dad said, get over here, Duck. Stop, Duck. I was just like, really? I have a brother, and I don't think I even say his name that often.
Okay.
I call him bro more than anything. But I did think it was cute that JT kept his promise. And that they knew.
Yeah.
They knew, like, we love each other. And
baby was adorable.
He was. Actually, both of them were just as cute as they could be. But his little shy self.
He didn't want to let his daddy play.
He didn't.
That automatically made me think of his relationship with Noelle, because he really is like that with his daughter. Like, he really loves his kid. I was like,
yeah, it was very sweet.
Shout out to the dads that step up.
So then, of course, they hug it out, you know, as bros do.
Yeah.
You know, and then all was good. Then we get to the cookout scene, and now we're pretty much at the end of the movie. But I liked this cookout scene because the cousins, you know, one more time they got to be in there one more again. You know, because they was like, you know, we got our own little gimmick. We in our 40s, and we rap.
Talking to Eddie, because Eddie now manages. He's now a manager like Jimmy was.
Look at that. Look at that turnaround.
Did y'all notice though? Because I actually just realized that when we was talking about the Rose at the end, Rose and I was looking at it and I was like, man, Dresser and what's that man name? JT both chose women who were like, they were showing like how they were intelligent because they were both reading books.
They all had bad women.
They did. All of them.
I ain't even gonna lie. Like Babydoll, all of them were highly intellectual, and they all sitting at the table, the feet of the table with Diahann Carroll. So I was like,
yeah, that's true. But I was like, man, those two was reading books. I was like, oh, I'm glad they showed that black women read.
That too.
Yes.
And there was no cattiness between the women. It was truly all love.
Yeah.
And this is also the scene that solidified that actually was Rose from in the front, because she's talking about, here they go. Like saying, because she wouldn't have had no reference, because she wouldn't have known any of them. You know what I mean? But I was like, I liked the ending scene because it wasn't fairy tale. It was real. It was some
it ain't like they came
in
back.
there.
Yeah. Like they was in their glory days and trying to perform for the kids, and no.
I did think here though that we saw that Flash can't make it on his own.
He never could.
Mm-hmm. He has to have
a group. Yeah.
That you just ain't got it, bro. Excuse me, guys. Y'all, you got it to be a star, but not the star.
Yeah.
You know?
I think there were so many parts of this that correlate to, groups and stuff like that. Like, Ralph Tresvant. Although sexy back in the day.
I used to say he was going to be my husband. You know how you used to pick
really
a husband?
liked him. Now
when I was a kid, this is when I was a child. So let me put that.
Because, Ralph, Bobby, and Johnny was all battling each other. So
they were.
Yeah.
So many parallels here. So I did think that was funny about Flash. And then, of course, I was like, okay, so now they get the scene where they going to say, nah, this ain't real music. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, I'm at that age now. Where I'd be like, who is that? I don't know this new artist. I don't understand this song.
A little pop cracker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they dance like old men with bad knees.
Except for JT.
And bad backs.
And you still see that Eddie can't dance because them skips that he used to do to the microphone. What is that, sir?
Nah, he turned and one of them bullet shots got him. He said, I can't do it. That's what it was. My skin ain't stretching right.
Okay. And it took him a while to get the little arm shuffle thing and the little turn it took a second.
Yeah. Oh, we forgot one part. We kind of said it, but when they were all going up there and they were like, come on up here, Eddie. And then Dresser, Eddie was like, y'all sure y'all want to rock with old Eddie Kane? And then Dresser was like, yeah, come on up here, man. I was like,
oh, and then you see Babydoll smile in the background.
I knew y'all was going to get it together eventually.
She was like,
she was so calm just to kind of see how everything would just play out for him. And that made me cry when he was like, y'all sure y'all want to hang with old Eddie Kane?
Yeah. I only wish they would have gave Babydoll a different wig because they aged her older than Eleanor with her wig.
Yeah,
that's the only thing.
It needed to be closer to her hair color.
Yeah. I was like,
versus blondish gray.
Yeah, because it almost looked like she was gray. I mean, like, she was all gray.
Yeah, it's like all y'all are the same age on this side of the table.
Yeah,
with the exception of Diahann, Carroll or Eleanor. Yeah, I like how they each came up. In
the way that the person that they are in the group.
Yeah,
because Choirboy then burnt up the ribs, sir. Those are
not crispy
sticks.
Corpse. They're corpse. They're little vampire corpses.
Yes. Oh, and then of course now it's the fade to black. And we hear the song. I don't know what the name of the song is, but Patti LaBelle and somebody else is singing it. With the sister and the one duck were singing.
Dun, 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 dun. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I know the beat.
I believe in you.
You better know the song.
Yes.
You believe in me.
Makes me think about trap karaoke. Yes. Okay, so that's the end of this beautiful, wonderful cult black classic film. So we usually end off with a rating system for our M&Bs, and this is a long one, guys, so we hope y'all like this one because we probably talk longer than what the actual film is.
This movie was long too, though.
It was.
I'll go ahead and give y'all my rating. It's still a 10. It has always been a 10.
You done went from 10. It was supposed to be 5.
I don't even know. Okay, so 5, A, 10, 20.
Yes. I think for nostalgia reasons and my appreciation for it as an adult, I now give this film a 5 or a 10 or an A. Had I done this when I was younger, I probably would have given it something different. But now I would definitely give it all of its glory.
I concur with all of that. I think it hits on a lot of what we're dealing with in 2021 with the drug epidemic, with the race epidemic, with just so many different things, the black family. It hits on a lot of stuff. The acting wasn't horrible or anything like that. It's a few cringy moments or something like that, but
it's aged well.
Very.
It has. Yeah. Considering some of the the films we've watched. Okay.
And the one we was talking about earlier.
Yes. So just housekeeping stuff, guys. September 29th, 2021, based off when you listen to this. We will be doing a live this month for our Disbra episode. So it will be at 6 p.m. that day, Central Time. We hope you guys come out or come on and join us. Log in, log on, connect, whatever you call that stuff for our live.
And it will be on Facebook, Instagram, and we will upload it to YouTube.
We'll see y'all there.
Must be this Beyer control.
So, okay, interns, process your notes. Be sure to catch us next session and find us on all major platforms at the RePsychled Podcast.
If you're a new intern, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share.
Thanks for listening. And remember, we are shifting and reshaping our psyche through healing conversations and connections, one discussion at a time.